Play.
João Fonseca will play the number 8 seed and home favorite Thomas Echeverri in the opening round of the Argentina Open in Buenos Aires. Echeverri is currently ranked number 40 in the world, while the Brazilian teenager has recently cracked the top 100 at number.
Ready. Play.
Okay, so João, not a very bad start for your first grass court match. How do you feel on the grass?
Well, feeling good. I arrived on Thursday, so I had a bit of practice in here, and the type that I play a bit more aggressively, it goes good. I go aggressively, and the game on grass is very quick. The points are very quick, so I like playing on grass. It's my third time, but first on pro. Yeah. So feeling so good, and winning with ex-top 20 guy, Kyle, well, it means a lot for the first round. And,
yeah, he's obviously a very good player on grass as well. How does this give you confidence going into the summer?
For sure, yes. It was a good match, and I'm practicing a lot of my serve. So today was a good opportunity to close the doors my serve. So yeah, it gives me more confidence to go through this week.
And where are you thinking of playing this summer? Are you going to stay in Europe, in Germany, on the grass, or?
I'll play here, Nottingham and New Clay, and then if I go into Wimbledon, I'll play Wimbledon, and well, let's see.
Have you thought about playing Wimbledon? Is that something that you used to watch on TV, or?
It's my favorite Grand Slam, my favorite tournament. Well, it's a dream if I play, but let's see.
Yeah. And you started the year 700 in the Worlds. You're now kind of knocking on the door at 200. Is that surprising you that it's happened at this age, at 17, or not surprising?
Yeah, I talk a lot of that in the interviews that I say. It's very surprising because I'm like breaking the expectations of myself, not others people. But well, I'm very happy the way that I'm playing, and the way that I'm improving. And I know I'm still in the process. I can go further and further, but that's keep the process humble and calm.
Yeah, it's key to stay humble, and I know it's quite hard to set objectives, but do you have any objectives for the summer or for the rest of the year?
I would say play a Grand Slam this year. I'm trying. I almost hit in Roland Garros. Let's see if I get into Wimbledon and maybe US Open. So maybe these are the objectives. And
are you watching the French Open at the moment?
For sure, yes.
Who do you think is going to win?
It's difficult. It's open. I think maybe Sinner. I'm cheering for him. I like.
And when you're watching kind of the top guys, like these guys playing in Grand Slam semi-finals and so what, does this give you inspiration, and does it make you want to be there one day as well?
For sure. Watching Carlos and Sinner winning those Grand Slams so young, it gives me inspiration to go for it.
Thank you, João.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is João and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready. Play.
Yo, I'm just thinking, like, how lame is it to have lame in your name? But thankfully, Susan Layman's is a bit more cool than that. Zach is also pretty cool. And Fonseca here.
Damien coming in hot for the João Fonseca match. We had a pretty good one leading into this. Well, at least a very good first set. Taboff Wild, or I always say his last name wrong. An interesting player on the court, a troubling player off the court, and Jure making his return to the top 100 with a very nice win. Did you catch any of the previous match?
Oh, not really. But yeah, that's one that I will give you a pass on for sure. Thiago's surname is one that's like everybody says wrong, so that's fine.
Is it
Laszlo,
Wild?
yeah, really needed this one. Yeah, it's gotta be with a Germanish accent. Because of course of the the connections and the heritage. Either way, yeah, I mean Jere needed this one for sure. Out of the top 100 now, but still has quite a lot of quality. I think from the qualities here, wasn't he? So yeah.
And as I pointed out on the broadcast, that automatic entry into the slams is so huge, and so it's got to be a sigh of relief for the Serbian player there. He's got a great game. His forehand does get a little bit tight. We didn't see it much there. His backhand was excellent throughout the match. He looks very, very solid. He looked like he belongs in the top 40 again or so.
Yeah, I think Jere is like one of these guys where, like, if you watch them against opponents, on the Challenger Tour or play even players like here, like you can just see that he's got so much weight of shot and people never really give him credit for that. But then when he plays like top 20 guys, he's just like a solid player, not much more. So there's always like a bit of a cap. But yeah, glad to see him kind of like back where he belongs for the time being. And well, it's not going to be an all Brazilian semi, which could have been a cool story.
I saw Jure play in person in Winston-Salem a couple of years back, and I think he actually made the final there. And you're right. He's one of those guys. Yeah, physically, he looks like he's the top 30 caliber player, and he's got all the shots, and he just doesn't seem to have quite that last little bit that can keep somebody in the top 30. But he's got a beautiful game, fun to watch. This is the Fonseca show. Let's be honest. While the hometown crowd is going to be with Navone, all tennis fans want to see what Fonseca can do. It's like watching a superhero kind of discover their powers when he's playing. The sound that his racket or the ball makes off his racket, dare I say, Damien, Sinner-esque on the forehand side at least.
Maybe even Del Potro-esque.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Del Potro-esque.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, certainly this is like a João Fonseca swing even.
Yeah.
Like the main storyline of the Golden Swing is how he does.
Yeah.
I am actually kind of like dreading some of his losses because I know what the Twitter warriors will have to say. And, and then how they will literally be saying, oh, because Fonseca lost here too. I don't know. Because Fonseca even lost a set to Federico Coria. He's complete trash, utter garbage, and will never be a good player. But, obviously some people just put him under like insane standards. And I think I've mentioned this on the show this week already, but like someone in my comments was just saying, if he doesn't win one of these events during the Golden Swing, it's a major disappointment or something like that.
Speaking of people who kind of put him on a pedestal, Vanch, friend of the Talking Tennis community, frequent host, said that he will win both events in South America.
Two out of three, yeah.
I mean,
that was a bit wild, yeah.
Not a bit wild.
Not Thiago Seymour. No, it was a bit wild, just in general, yeah. I mean, he might actually turn out to be right. What's crazy is that the lunatic might actually be right because, well, he does have that ability, but like, yeah, you can't expect it yet.
Have we found the third member of the new Big Three? Alcaraz, Sinner, and Fonseca.
Oh, by the way, it's raining.
Oh man, that should be illegal. Somebody should do something about that.
Seems like it's not heavy though. I think they will be playing.
Man, there's nothing like playing in a drizzle on clay. That is gonna, if it continues here, obviously that will slightly alter our live stream plans. But the good news, Damien, is I can BS with the best of them. We can talk nonsense for as long as that delay could be.
5 hours?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Damien, if I know for a fact that we can fill 5 hours of airtime.
I mean, I'm not doubting that we could.
I'm not saying it'll be good.
We probably wouldn't. Yeah.
Wouldn't or shouldn't? I don't know.
Both, but I'm not doubting that we could. They will be playing though, so at least that's it. I mean, for the time being, we have them on the court. Hopefully, it's not gonna get heavier.
It seems that we are underway. Fonseca standing very deep for the first return of service here.
There's just three quarters today, so maybe that will help them a little bit with the schedule if the rain is going to be any issue.
Yeah, Musetti's getting a walkover, yeah? By the way, the match starts with an absolutely saucy backhand up the line winner from Fonseca, showing exactly what he can do from the very first point. And Nurlon has entered the chat. Welcome.
Yeah, Martinez is getting a walkover, I guess, but yeah. One match is not going to be played.
Yeah,
these backhands like this, they were actually like raining as well in the Echeverry first round.
Yeah,
of course, yesterday was a lot more spotty. Navone and Fonseca, I know it's a matchup with history already. Like I'm probably you didn't watch their 2022 Sao Leopoldo clash when
João was be shocked to learn. I did not.
Yeah, in a challenger main draw, he was like debuting in that event, I think, because I think he also played qualifying earlier in Rio. But he was debuting in the main draw and he beat Navone and Tirante. Navone he saved like 2 match points against. And of course last year Rio quarters as well. And that was actually a match where like João was unplayable for a set before just getting a little bit tired and well, Navone ground him down. It's pretty clear that like grinding him down is going to be the main strategy for Mariano.
So we've got 2 points, 2 winners so far, but and now we got 3 points, 3 winners, but only 2 of them from Fonseca. We saw up on the screen a moment ago the Diego Schwartzman retirement news. I'm not gonna lie, I got like a little bit emotional, as the crowd was chanting Diego, Diego, and you could see him sort of feeling it and taking the weight in and knowing what an incredible story and career he's had. It was a really special moment. It would have been more special if he'd gone on a deep run, made it to the finals, or even won this thing. But, let's be realistic. He's 32. He put up a fight. He got a win or two. And it was really, really cool to see him go out in front of the hometown crowd. Did you catch any of that match?
I caught a lot of his Jari performance. Yesterday, I was kind of like gonna tune in if it was going to be anywhere close. So in a way, Diego's career lasted like a match too long, but also he got a win. So I guess it's fine. But he got a win. It was a bit more competitive.
He got a win in the battle for Patagonia against the Chilean. It was a very, very solid win.
Yeah, I mean, sure, obviously. It is clear that like he trained very hard for this comeback, that he was ready to bring a good level. It's just that it lasted 2 matches. Martinez was just a bit too strong.
Yeah.
And well, I mean,
Fonseca.
Not the perfect send-off in a way then, but still getting a win has to be treated as something nice. And I think it's pretty clear as well that like Diego is not retiring because he would never be able to come back to like a strong top 20, 30 level or something like that. It's just like he was literally done mentally last year. And yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's
but also, look, he's 32, which, 10, 15 years ago would have been an unusually long career at that level, right? The big three and Murray have sort of redefined what a long career looks like. And I think, I talked about this on another episode. I think we'll start seeing more players retire when they're 31, 32 again, because is it worth hanging around between 30 and 60 in the world when you're in your early to mid 30s and it takes a toll on your body and you're away from your family? And, there's other options for so many of these guys that seem a little bit more manageable.
I think the key thing is that for a lot of these guys, like the options, they don't seem available because this is the only thing they know how to do.
Yeah.
Like if you've been training tennis since you were 5 years old and now you're 30 and like, what are you going to do post-retirement? So I think a lot of them stick around for like that reason, really.
Yeah. Ozan says, "Hola" to my Polish hermano. Damien, I believe he's talking about you, but I don't know if you've seen my last name, Tchaikovsky. It is I'm a proud Polish American, and actually I am also a Polish citizen. Shout out to the dual citizen crowd and community.
Nice. Well, makes sense. So I guess you were born in the States, but because you have a, I don't know, mother or father that's Polish, you can have
granddad. And kind of fun fact about when you get a Polish citizenship when you're not born in Poland, they actually create a Polish birth certificate for you. So I have I have two birth certificates. I don't know, it probably makes my identity easier to steal.
Possibly, yeah. Poland, of course, uses ius sanguinis, right? The right of the like blood or whatever, and the States use solis. That's something you guys probably didn't think you were gonna listen about. Listen to us talking about today, but well, you learned something new about Zach's genealogy.
Give us a little bit from of Damien. As by the way, the first game is concluded.
Here, by the way, he would love to hear me say that you're ethnically Polish now, because he had this big problem when Buenos was called ethnically Mongolian by everybody last year. He was like questioning, what does it mean to be ethnically Mongolian?
I don't believe, by the way, that I am related to anybody of note, including the sci-fi writer Adrian Tchaikovsky. But you know what? Maybe if they'll put me in their will. Sure, I could be a long-lost relative. I'll take some of that sweet, sweet sci-fi royalty money. Fonseca with another big winner on the forehand side here. What do you think of that kit, Damien? Are you digging the on color pattern here?
I honestly have no opinions on kits.
You're blown away by it. You can't believe how good it looks.
There's a famous Talking Tennis short which is basically me saying that I think clothes are there for us not to feel cold or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Anna Wintour somewhere is having a meltdown.
There was somebody actually in the comments for that who said something that reminded me of like this monologue. Well, it's not a monologue actually, but from the scene from Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Where because Anne Hathaway's character is like, she doesn't care about fashion at first, and Stanley Tucci is like explaining to her that basically, whatever she's wearing right now, whatever she picked up at like a $5 shop or whatever, this is because in 2002 someone la 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 la. And I mean, sure, I can understand that. It's a very private individual feeling for me.
It's not fine, blue, it's cerulean or whatever, I think is the line.
Yeah, there is something like this. Yeah.
Clothes are there so we don't feel cold. Well, Damien, counterpoint, it's pretty hot in Argentina. So if clothes are there for not feeling cold, why are they wearing clothes?
I mean, also for us to be, private and, our private parts don't get shown to everybody. That's basically my opinion. Would I wear a color pattern like Fonseca? I wouldn't be too excited, I guess. I think it's not really my style, but yeah.
Are you a more muted color pattern guy?
I like bright colors for sure. I'm probably not sure about like the whole combination and pattern, but I do like orange shirts, for example. So I guess it's fine. But I would much rather wear Navone's kit than Fonseca's. But I can't say that it's something that like I pay attention to while watching.
Fonseca looking solid here, but Navone, I think, just hit a pretty incredible up the line forehand winner to take it to deuce. So not a super easy first service game here. As the Talking Tennis account has pointed out, yes, it is hot in Argentina. It is baking in Rio. Good golly, hot.
I have to say as well that like Navone, since last year's not really even Golden Swing, but like the European clay season, of course, after that, he had so many opportunities to like play the bigger events, not on his favorite surface, not in his favorite conditions. And it was fun to watch it sometimes. Like, it was fun to see him trying to solve this puzzle. But this week, I'm like, just like, oh yeah, this is what I want. This is Navone back in his element. And I'm having so much fun watching him again, just like outplay everybody with his angles, with his consistency, with his defense on clay courts.
So for the uninitiated,
that's a break point, right?
Yes. So for those that might not be familiar with Navone's game, tell us a little bit about what you expect to see out of him today.
I think I said a couple of years ago, because he was playing Korea a lot, and I just said that like he's kind of like a more aggressive Korea.
Yeah.
It's a similar style. He uses the angles so well. He's so fast. He's such a good defender. At the same time, he just has a bit more in terms of that backhand that he hits of like more or less like waist high. There's a lot of acceleration there. The forehand a little bit, maybe more spotty, maybe, but again, the angles he can produce on it are great. So I think it's like a slightly higher ceiling version of that game, which is also funny because Korea just played Fonseca.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think something like this. It's just such a pleasure sometimes to see him, I don't know, out rally everybody and just have to really get on with the point construction and really build up the point against all these other clay quarters. Of course, there was that beautiful year when he had 5 challenger titles and lost the sixth final. And last year, to see him just kind of get to the golden swing, do pretty much the same, make the Rio final was it semi-final, final. Was definitely quite something. And it just feels like it's been a while since we've seen him at his best. But that's purely because, well, he hasn't played on clay since the French, I guess.
Right.
No, the Olympics, maybe. No, was he at the Olympics?
I don't know about the Olympics, but certainly French. Another deuce here in what is becoming a very tough first service game for Fonseca. This is going to be a good match, I think. I think we're going to get a couple of contrasting styles. Fonseca just will not be able to hit through him every time, and he's got to make those easy volleys like he just missed. By the way, the chat is jumping. We got Ghost, we got Swarna, we got Gene, we got Orjan, we got Ozon. It's a full house today. What are you folks in the chat expecting to see? Obviously, I think I tend to agree with Damien's assessment. Yes, and like John's saying there, hit that like button if you haven't done so already.
Nurlan, I think this is a different case. Because yesterday we recorded this preview with John and Vansh about Świątek Ostapenko, and by the way, Navone does get the break. So yeah, this is obviously a little different already to their clash last year. Yeah. I think this will be very fun, as you said, because of the pure clash of styles that we have here. But yeah, to Nurlan, what you're saying about the preview we did yesterday with John and Vansh, when basically both John and Vansh just said that, like, I can't see Ostapenko winning in 2 sets. I think that's impossible. I don't think this was a case of the Iga fandom, but more so just like I think I called their thinking like closed or something like this in that video, because I think it's just like very basic. She's the favorite, so I can't see her losing in 2. Like, that's literally what it is to me. And I think it is some sort of a bias, but it's more towards just like straight up favorite rather than towards Świątek herself. Like, if it was Aryna Sabalenka on the other side of the net to Ostapenko, I think he'd be saying the same thing.
I think, so kind of fun fact, my parents happen to be in Qatar at the moment, and so they were actually at that match today. And my dad said that Ostapenko was playing like Sabalenka out there and was just cranking the ball. Look, that's the way you beat Iga, right? There's a few players every now and then that can just hit through her. Sabalenka's one, Rybakina's one, and Ostapenko on a good day can be one. That was a really, really fun match to watch. If you were rooting against Iga or if you're an Ostapenko fan, I am as a proud Polish American, always rooting for Iga, so that was hard for me. The match of the day, though, so far was the doubles match. Schneider and Andreeva against Paolini and Arani was electric, which brings me to one of my favorite topics. What a travesty it is how poorly tennis and the ATP and WTA market doubles, which is what most recreational players play, many fans play, and they just do a terrible job of getting folks invested. But excellent viewing.
Yeah, Runa has offered and published 2 books. What the hell is that about? I think the recreational part. I've heard this argument. I think it's maybe
Yeah.
a bit more in the States. Like I don't know. In Poland, barely anyone plays doubles. I think at the recreational level. Maybe it's just about like getting 4 people on the court.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard this argument used before too. So I don't think you're on crack.
It's because we're heavier here. We're fatter, and singles is harder for us. And also, there's limited court availability depending where you are. By the way, I want to point out that not only did Navone get the break, he's gotten the second hold up 3-0. So while we all expect this to be a fun match, if it continues as the first 3 games have, we will not be here for very long.
João Fonseca does tend to play like 75-minute matches. Usually he wins them. Maybe today can be the other case. I mean, I don't know how heavy the rain is as well.
Yeah.
But the longer that continues, it's going to be better for Navone too. So,
by the way, in the background of my stream, you've got a guy in a Wilson hat just ripping mate. A lovely, lovely drink for anyone that likes to consume large quantities of caffeine, which I certainly do and greatly enjoyed in my time in Argentina.
Thank you, Julian, for the membership.
Hell yeah. Julian, new members make the world go around, dude. Thanks for signing up.
Was Runa injured? Didn't look injured, but I'd say the first set he looked like Fields in 2024 at the Golden Swing, just like completely lost, completely confused with the conditions. And then the second set was actually quite entertaining, and I don't think you can say he was injured there. But he was complaining about, like after the match especially, he was complaining about the quality of the courts, which I think is maybe more so why he pulled out of Rio. I think he's just like done with the Golden Swing and wants to give it a bit more rest. Of course, he had an injury in Rotterdam. I think yesterday, though, he looked fine. If he's complaining about the courts in Buenos Aires, by the way, I think he would just die on the Santiago courts. So it's good that he's not, I think at least he's not playing that.
He's a complainer. He's a complainer whose game is not progressing at the pace it should be for the natural talent that he possesses. And while I hope that one day he grows up and gets it together, I wouldn't count on it. Not to be down on Rune.
Julian, I mean, you know, he's been growing. I usually only shave like every 2 months, but you should see Vansh. You have to check out Vansh, how he's looking right now. I mean, it's a new look, you know. It's interesting to say the least. I think it's better than John, who has that 80s pedo mustache thing. But
Fonseca hoping to get on the board here. Dropper attempt there. And yet another unsuccessful dropper. His drop shots have not been great to start the game. Forehand looking dynamic as usual. You know, obviously very difficult to hit through or pass Navone. And so maybe to open up the court, Fonseca's attempted a couple droppers. I just don't think he's hit a particularly good one yet. Damien just murdered John's mustache live on stream, Ozan says. See, I think of that mustache as being like just mustache kind of handlebar situation. I think John's is it's more of a part of the beard rather than its own standalone stash.
Not really, actually. Yeah,
let's see it.
I think what he did with it recently, it was the beard has grown. Maybe maybe it's no different.
I think there's only one way to settle this, and that's to get John on the live stream to address the allegations for the people. It was a mustache. Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely was, at least for a while. It did have that Jordan Thompson, Steve Johnson type of thing to it. So yeah.
Anytime I shave, which I did recently, I keep a mustache for about 2 minutes. Then my wife tells me I need to get rid of it like immediately, and then I do.
Yeah, I remember how. Oh yeah, that's a great point for him. Finally, kind of really has to get that first game on the board here. I was just gonna say that I remember in high school it was so tough for me to convince my girlfriend to let me actually grow that beard for a while. It was the beginnings of it. I didn't really know how it was gonna look.
Yeah.
And for a while she was like saying a very hard no, but at some point she's like, okay, Yeah, go for it. And I remember it was actually the other people who were like, really?
Yeah.
She allowed you to do this?
How about that return from Navone on the 40-30 point there?
Yeah,
Ripped the
Fonseca
backhand cross
a
court.
volley to close it out, and
Yeah.
definitely was heavily stretched there.
Oh, and then after a brilliant return, I don't want to say he blows an opportunity there, but certainly, that was a returnable serve that he missed in the net at deuce. Let's see if Fonseca gets on the board here and can close out. First serve in the net. Bounce, 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 and here he goes. Nice kicker out wide. Runs around it. Oh, and a beautiful inside-in forehand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the classic Fonseca play. I mean, from the very first day that I watched him, I think he was playing like this. Like even at 16, his serve maybe wasn't too strong, but he had all these like good kickers to set up the first forehand, and that's literally what he keeps doing. There was an interesting point yesterday as well that like he had one ace against Coria, and Coria had 8. But I do think a lot of Joao's serving on clay is also, things like this. Basically set up for the first forehand rather than maybe going that aggressively at the corner. But of course, it's something that will improve when you're 18. Your serve generally won't be at the peak of your powers yet.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that he's had that forehand since he's been about 11 years old, based on
probably
how refined it is.
Not that we've watched him when he was 11. Even I didn't, but
no,
it looks like he did. Yeah.
That's a level of tennis fandom that that's too much. Just let the 11-year-olds be 11. But once they're in the juniors, that's that top tier. Get some good stuff. I find myself in the latter stages of the majors when I'm just kind of jonesing for tennis. I will watch some of the highly anticipated juniors matches now. Yeah, get some good stuff every now and then.
Yeah, these sort of juniors definitely are easy to follow. I think there are some big events like Le Petit A in France, which could be very entertaining, but I don't know. There's just so much to watch in tennis that I'm like, probably I'm just gonna start from ITF juniors. Really, I did visit a junior event in Poland. It was a girls' event.
Cool.
I don't remember what the ages were exactly, but it was very close to me, so I went there with my dad. But no one from that really made it big. There were I'm not even sure anyone got to like WTA points. I know there was one of them almost made a WTA. I mean ITF quarterfinal. So I mean there was one player who I thought was going to be much better than she eventually ended up being. But I didn't really land any star there.
Was that Rato de Saibro? Was that what was on screen there a moment ago? And if so, is that a compliment or is that a truly a neutral statement, or Rato de Saibro? Is that a good thing? Do you want to be a Rato de Saibro?
What does that mean?
It's a clay rat. It's not a good thing. You don't want to be that. I hope. Okay.
No,
I
you
hope
don't.
I didn't say something that get me in trouble. Whoopsies. But you don't want to be that.
As a derogatory term for sure. I don't know if it should be.
I don't think
someone
it should be.
In my comments as well, because I had this big tweet about Fonseca, the Coria, the atmosphere being so good, and the golden swing is fine as it is, just leave it as it is. And basically someone commented that he doesn't like that the conditions suit clay rats, and he doesn't like the fact that they don't suit skilled players. But honestly, are these conditions even that slow? At that point, you kind of just want to eliminate clay altogether, I guess, because
that's
these
a terrible
aren't the slowest conditions on the planet, are they? I mean, I don't think so.
No, I think that if someone called me a clay rat, I would own that and be like, yeah, I am a clay rat. Because what is that saying? It's saying you've got incredible fitness, you've got great mental toughness, you can grind out points. It is a compliment to be a good clay court player. So I grew up on American courts, which is overwhelmingly hard courts. The clay that we have is Hartrue. And the American tennis publications will be like, oh, actually, Hartrue is better. It's not. Red clay is vastly superior. I think that clay is the purest form of tennis because there's a layer of variability in it. The bounces, they're a little more unpredictable. The points are a little bit longer. Fitness matters more, especially on a hot day like today. Hey, you can play through a little bit of a drizzle, which you can't do the same way on hard courts. I personally love clay. And I think I'm going to start using the term clay rat as a compliment to people that I think are good players.
Maybe you can change the vermin, or maybe just not a vermin at all.
Maybe clay dog. If you're a clay dog, I feel like that's a better.
Well, that feels like a reference to that Medvedev quote, right? Like if you want to like roll in the dirt like a
cat.
dog.
Oh.
No. There's a quote from like Madrid or Rome where he says that like if you wanna roll in the mud or in the dirt like a dog, I'm not judging, but he doesn't want to, or that's kind of like.
That's such a Medvedev quote, and that's why he's gonna retire in like 2 years. I think he's one of those guys who does not feel stuck on a tennis court. He's got other pursuits and interests. The only time I feel like I've seen him look truly, genuinely happy is playing Call of Duty. And he looks like a little kid, level happy. Okay, here we go. Fonseca down 4-1, showing flashes of why he's likely to be the third member of the new Big Three, and showing flashes of why, tennis is hard.
It will take a while.
Yeah. I mean, he hit the fence with the forehand in that last game to close it out. That's not... I can hit that shot, as can I'm sure most people in the chat.
I think probably everybody but Nurlan. Nurlan finds the court with every single shot.
Yeah.
His shots are as accurate as his comments. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that like Navone is a major problem for Fonseca or something that in his career, because obviously he did beat him 2022. But yeah, today so far he's kind of getting heavily outplayed so far.
I mean, you pointed out earlier, right? Like Navone's a guy who can be a problem for basically anybody on clay. And then he's in front of the home court fans, so the crowd is jumping. And by the way, one of the many reasons that I like to see more tennis tournaments played in South America, it's an awesome crowd. And, there have been moments where the crowd has continued to chant and cheer as the points are about to get started. That's not just great for when you're in the crowd. That's good for tennis broadly. South American fans are some of the best in the game.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my point when I was talking about Fonseca Coria. Like, it wasn't even the Schwartzman match yet. It wasn't probably the last match of the hometown hero. And I know it's Brazil and Argentina, and that kind of has some vibes there too. But just it was insane how loud the crowd was.
Absolutely. Hey, very important question as we enter this 30-30 point. Would you quit being a tennis journalist if you got offered a bag to become a pickleball media specialist? Ozon wants to know, and the people need to know. There's a price for me, for sure, and it's not that high.
I mean, I'm not very money motivated. Like, if I had the certainty that I was going to make a living for the next 30-40 years, it doesn't have to be an amazing living.
Sorry, Damien, another break point here coming up.
Yeah. Just like a living in tennis, and that's something, in order to allow me to just live a good life, don't have to worry about money, but also I don't care about like having too much in terms of, a great house or like, fantastic new car. I don't care about things. Like I'm not too materialistic. In fact, I'm almost not materialistic at all. But safety is kind of like the big thing for me. So if I knew that I was going to like really struggle for the rest of my career, then probably I would accept something that would allow me to have that safety net.
You heard it here, folks. There is a price. Damien willing to become a pickleball journalist.
Is there even one pickleball journalist in the world at the moment? Probably not.
I'm sure there is. If there's not, it's a market gap. So another break from Navone. As you pointed out, Fonseca does have a tendency for the 75-minute matches. It would be such a bummer if that's what we get here. Let's see if he can get a break, build a little bit of confidence. I don't know that he's going to win this set, but maybe he can go into set 2 feeling a little bit better, and a little more comfortable out there. Navone is tough, man. He's just relentless. No easy points.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a bit of a masterclass for sure. Very similar to yesterday's match, to be honest. The opening set, right, of Fonseca Coria. Like, we're literally watching the same thing.
Will
One
it
guy
have
is
the same
just,
outcome?
like, so inspired and so As you said, relentless, doesn't give anything easy to João, and the Brazilian is just playing like he's 18, and that's leading to a pretty lopsided scoreline. Yesterday he was able to recover. Let's see.
So look, he's 18. He's in Buenos Aires, and for those of you that haven't been, it's a fun city and it's a late city. The clubs open at like midnight. People stay out until the sun comes up. And, if I was an 18-year-old, I had a little bit of money in my pocket, I was in Buenos Aires, I probably would make some bad choices. Not saying that he did, but
no shot he did, I think.
Is there a world in which maybe Fonseca stayed out, had some mate, stayed out a little bit late, maybe met a nice lady, didn't get enough sleep, and that's why he's in this position?
No. I think he's like a professional to the core. I don't think that's possible. Yeah, not for him.
I think that is truly a remarkable 18-year-old that can do that. That's the one reason I'm not a professional athlete, probably. Okay. So we've got some questions in the chat, like how did Navone beat Runa? I think what I would say to that is you're seeing it right now. He is a top tier clay beast, which is derived from the insult clay rat, which should not be an insult.
Have I heard about Ksenia Efremova? I mean, of course, but I can't say I have too much knowledge about her game, Nurlan, so probably not gonna give you any real answers for now. I think I've tweeted about her before when she did something, which I don't remember right now, but maybe it was that first ITF she was playing. Obviously, she's among the 15-year-olds, she is the biggest name right now. So
we've got Navone serving for the set. Woof. Fonseca, not fast start Fonseca. Let's see if Navone closes this out. Nice serve out wide. Oh, okay. And back to deuce here. Okay. Fonseca holds off one set point. Damien, let's make a prediction. I'm going to say that Fonseca is going to get the break here. What do you think?
I don't know. I thought you were gonna go like Broder. It's 2 points. Well, I think it's literally just like me predicting whether a coin is gonna be on heads or tails. So I'm gonna refrain from that. I will say though that I think
that's so reasonable.
It's gonna be tougher to make the comeback though. Than yesterday.
Okay,
that's that I can tell you.
Oh, an interesting development here. Fonseca has a break point. Wow.
Yeah, that was such a short return. Very nice for him to follow this up to the nets. Just be, conscious and aware that this is a possibility.
Are we about to have a clairvoyant Tchaikovsky moment here? I think we're 1 point away from it happening. Let's see if Fonseca gets this break. And while this point is developing, in the chat, there's a question of whether we think Rybakina will ever win another slam if she continues with her current coach. And Damien, I'm really curious what you think, and I also want to see what Nurlan says in the chat.
I'd like to say yes, but
and Fonseca is back. Just like Vukov is back in the box, unfortunately, despite being suspended for Rybakina, which is a really sad situation. Or is he
2-5 down? I mean,
most deceptive score in sports when you're serving. Just one more break. You get a hold, you get a break, you get another hold, and we're on tiebreak. We're on a tiebreaker city, man.
Yeah, there's this famous quote from the coach of the Polish national football team where he said that 2-0 is the 2-0 or whatever is the most dangerous score.
Interesting.
And
does the data back that up? Is there any piece of data that would suggest that is true?
No, obviously not.
I have a buddy who likes to say that 4-1 is the most deceptive score in sports, and so there's some truth to that.
In tennis or in what?
In all sports. 4-1 in tennis is the most deceptive score across all sports. Which
I'd say in basketball it doesn't mean much.
I don't know how. Yeah, I guess if you get a free throw, It's not deceptive. It is maybe the most meaningless score in sports in basketball. I don't really understand cricket scoring, but I think the same might be true there.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
Yeah. While we're waiting on Fonseca to serve and clearly get back on track here, would you agree that Iga is the greatest active Polish athlete?
Wow, big question. I mean, active. Okay. No, I think there's like at least 4 people in this conversation.
Lewandowski, obviously.
Yeah. Kamil Stoch. I don't know how much you know about ski jumping.
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say I know Eddie the Eagle, and that's basically it. And he was never really in the conversation for the greats, as far as I understand.
Not for Polish and not for the greats. Yeah. And he's not active either, so he doesn't really go into this for different reasons.
Really further the conversation with the Eddie the Eagle reference there. Great. Okay, so there's a Polish ski jumper, there's Lewandowski, there's Iga, and who's the fourth?
I think hammer thrower, Anita Włodarczyk. She's like dominated her sport. That's like, in a way that is basically not comparable to anything else. I think of the best 30 results ever in women's hammer throw. She at some point she had like 25, and I think now she's like 22. So I think there are at least 4 people in this conversation. Yeah.
Well, I think you're leaving out one Olympic sport that historically Poles excel in: speed walking. There is a rich tradition of Polish.
Yeah, but not right now. I mean, we had obviously like the best speed walker in the world, and in 96 2004, let's say. But yeah, I mean, right now we don't really have anyone, and I think that the question is about active. So I think she's definitely in the conversation, and she has a major sport. So alongside Lewandowski, like it's easier to go her or Robert just because they obviously are competing in something that everybody knows in the world, and half the people in the world have tried themselves. But yeah, it's not that obvious.
By the way, Fonseca got down love 30 and just erased it with 2 massive aces, although it looks like that second ace is going to get a quick double check, and it hit. Vanch with an interesting tweet here, something pretty poetic about the fact that Verdasco is a hitting partner for Djokovic in Doha. Verdasco had 5 match points against Djokovic in Doha in 2017 in the semifinals. A round later, Djokovic and Murray would play for the 36th, and who knew then, final time in their careers. Talking Tennis wants to know, Damien, is this the most Vanch tweet of all time? It's up there, but I think he can one up it. Fonseca.
No, I think there are more Vanch tweets. There was this one about Emma Raducanu, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was today or the other day, but like that. Emma Raducanu is the last player to beat Ekaterina Alexandrova. Emma Raducanu is the last player to beat Amanda Anisimova, and they are going to meet now in the semifinals. I think every single day there's a tweet from Vanch that could be called the best ever. By the way, what I mean, I was just talking about Fonseca hitting 1 ace against Korea, and I think now he hit 4 in a row as Julian is.
When's the last time you saw an 18-year-old hit 4 aces on clay in a quarterfinal of a ATP caliber event? Like,
you're kind of going for that Lerner Tien thing again.
Yeah.
You just made it so obscure that it's tough to say yes.
What I'm hearing is that you've never seen anything like that before. So, special moment.
I mean, when you started talking about it, I was thinking maybe like Streaker, but then he said clay.
Yep.
So I think it probably didn't happen when he had that quarterfinal in Geneva. I don't think he was 18 either at the time. So...
Wow. So we have just witnessed history, quite possibly. No one has disproven that we've just witnessed history. So Julian, 4 aces back to back to back. Not only is that kid the real deal, he continues to behave and play in a historic manner. Special moment here on Talking Tennis.
Ozan, depends. Generally speaking, like the biggest events are best of 7 sets. So like the Olympics, the World Championships and everything. My events generally they tend to be best of 5, but like the pros also play a lot of best of 5. There's basically no events for like best of 3 formats. That's considered too short. So best of 7 for like the grand tournaments. But if you're playing at like my level, I don't think I've ever played a tournament that was best of 7. Best of 5 or best of 7 depends on the tournament. Let's say category.
Fonseca missed that return at love 15, and now it's 15 all. But notice where he's standing on the second serve. He's moved in quite a bit on the second serve from where he was at the start of the match. He's still way, way back there, as is the norm oftentimes on clay. But let's see if he continues by moving in and really getting aggressive on those second serves. Another miss there from Fonseca, kind of spraying that forehand. But just 3 points away from being back on serve here. Anything could happen.
Yeah, when he won the first point in this game, it suddenly really like became, so possible, so palpable for him to break back here.
Yeah.
Of course,
And then,
now we are kind of in a different spot, but still, the next few points will decide.
Yep. Let's see. A big point here at 30-15. Some people call it the most dangerous score in tennis. Oh, and 30 all. 30 all. Okay, dude. This is good stuff. I think Fonseca, so far we're 1 for 1 on predictions of breaks. Damien, are you going to predict a second break back? No, you think Navone holds and closes this out?
I'm still not going to predict anything because it's just heads and tails. Like, literally, so.
That's the point of the prediction. It's like, it's anybody's guess. You might get it right. I'm saying another break here. Fonseca.
Like that doesn't interest me. I'm interested in predictions where I actually have some, control, logic, knowledge that I can use. For this, I literally can't.
Yeah.
It's not up to me whatsoever.
I'll throw a little logic at you. I'd like to see more points, and extending the set is one way to do it. So that's what I'll make that prediction. Break point for Fonseca.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the set point that Navone had, but it was like 5-1, 40-30, and he goes for like a +1 forehand inside in, kind of like a Fonseca-ish play after a kick serve. And it's right. I mean, it's a little more aggressive than he usually does.
Yeah.
But if he loses the game here, like, that's the one where I'm gonna be thinking, maybe it was worth going a bit more conventional.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if Fonseca can get this break. Here we go. Point begins. Nice cross-court backhand exchange. Then Fonseca dumps one in the net. Okay. Well, hey, we're at deuce. Fonseca very much hanging in there. Sean Power calls you, Damien, a casino's worst nightmare. That's a nice little Twitter bio thing. Damien, a casino's worst nightmare. Coast. I like it.
Could be. I mean, I do like the games where, like, roulettes wouldn't be my thing, but like blackjack, poker, sure.
Well, roulette's the easiest game there is. All you got to do is pick the right number.
Well, you have 36 of these. The odds aren't that good. Obviously, you can play the
color. No. Just pick the right number, and you're good. That's all you got to do. I don't gamble anymore because I did stupid. I had too much fun at the roulette table back in the day. And Fonseca getting another break point here. I think one thing is clear is after his slow start, he's finding his footing. He's still spraying it a little bit too much. He hasn't really seemed to do a great job incorporating the variety from when he's tried it. He has tried with some of the serve and volleys and the drop shots, but his level does seem to be going up.
Yeah, he's kind of like definitely trying to keep the ball in play a bit more in this game. But the problem is that like the first breakpoint, and I don't know when you're gonna see it, but the second breakpoint is pretty much the same. He misses a very similar backhand, and I think it's also due to the fact that like he's so far behind the line.
Yeah, well, I mean that's where it goes back to the where he's standing, right? On the second serve, he's getting in, and that seems to give him a chance. Granted, he's spraying some of those returns, but yeah, it just Navone's too good on clay if you're starting 15, 20, 25 feet behind the baseline.
I think it's fine to start there, but like after you're hitting the return, you have to move in a bit, and he's kind of just like losing it in this battle of like, okay, I have to stay consistent, but at the same time, you can't just play every single shot from the fence. I mean, clearly, right now he's gonna get another break point. It wasn't like earned, but he has another chance to get this, and I mean,
uncharacteristic.
By now he's just gonna want to like put the return in play and then see whatever happens, but. Actually, he is like moving forward. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, an uncharacteristic miss from Navone there on that deuce point. Because you're right, he came in a touch, but like he should have gotten further. All right, the deuce point the break point's beginning for me. He's got a second serve, and look at him, he's right up on that line now for this break point. Oh, and he gets the forehand he wants. Oh, and he misses another backhand. 3 break points, 3 missed backhands. At least this one was long.
Yeah, but like what's fascinating is that the previous two we were talking about him just like staying, almost at the fence, just not being, any proactive with it, and now he goes for something completely different. So I guess in a way, he spotted what was the mistake, but yeah, this time he just overcooks one cross court. It's funny, like it's just we're seeing him like trying to figure things out on the fly, and that's also entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's a testament to his young tennis mind that he's already making those kinds of adjustments. Oh yeah, look where he's returning here. Let's see if he can get another break point. He's in the driver's seat. He's controlling the point pretty well. And then he well, that backhand wasn't particularly close. Wide and long by about 3 feet in each direction.
And he throws his racket at the ground pretty aggressively. Might be one of the first times I've seen him do that.
I don't know that I've seen him before. If you're going to throw your racket, that does feel like the type of miss to do it after.
Yeah, considering what's happening in this game generally, we've already had 3 break points, all of them backhand misses.
Sometimes it's good just to get it out. Just let get.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you have an unlimited stream of new rackets coming your way. Like for me, I try not to throw my racket because they're kind of expensive and I gotta buy it if I do anything bad to it. But like, if I had a sponsor give me one, yeah, I might crunch it every now and then.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I do think it can allow you to like get some emotions out, but yeah, I don't do it for economic reasons either.
Yeah. Another bad miss.
Well, we all have a set. Yeah, this was like very similar to that deuce point actually.
Yeah.
Just trying to pull the trigger. The ball's a bit deep. He's not set up too well, and he's gonna get another miss here. There was a real shot for him to get back on serve here, but of course he misses that with the free backhand unforced errors.
So what are your keys for Fonseca in set number 2 here? What does he need to do to get back in control of this match?
Honestly, I think some people were praising him yesterday against Korea for like starting to play smarter. I think in a way, it's kind of like half. Part of it was just like literally starting to hit some more ridiculous winners.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably like serve much better. Just stay ahead and try to look for something a bit more aggressively than he was on the first 2 points, I guess, here. But, by this game, I think, obviously, his mindset was just like try to survive. Right now, yeah, just get ahead, get that first hold, and then he can actually start sort of like playing something more to his natural tennis rather than what he was doing in this game.
Yeah, it seems like he goes for the exceptional shot a ball or two too early, which is a thing that 18-year-olds around the world are doing. Adults at every level other than the pros are doing too, and maybe he can get away with it against some players. But Navone, he's just moving too well, covering too much ground, and so when Fonseca goes for that low percentage or lower percentage exceptional shot, it's just not a great value equation. He's got to extend. He's got to get comfortable with some of those extended rallies a little bit more. I cannot hear the crowd as I've got my stream muted, but Ozon says the Porteño crowd booing Fonseca for throwing the racket. I wonder if it's more than just throwing the racket. I wonder if it's more that they're to support the hometown favorite. It helps to antagonize the challenger, perhaps.
There are also some crowds, I think, that are very like, depending on the country, some crowds are like fine with racket smashing and some are just very negative towards it. I'm not really sure what the case is in Argentina, but I think when I was in Marseille in 2020, where like whenever someone threw a racket, the crowd was just like, as if he killed an infant. And,
I don't get it. Like they're like the player's mad. Like they want to do a better job performing for themselves and by extension for the crowd. And so like, if anything, they're just showing they really care and they're upset and they want to do better. And for the crowd to then antagonize them, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
This is a very interesting question, Sean. I'm not really too prepared to answer it because I didn't play in the 21 points era, but I think it did change it. First of all, in 21 points, you had 5 serves each, right? So that's a major difference right now, having just 2 serves. And yeah, I mean, 21 points. It was obviously just like best of 2, best of 3, or best of 5. There weren't any best of 7 matches. But I think that has to change the meta at least a little bit. Serving 5 times in a row compared to serving twice. Bigger advantage for the player starting, I would say, back in that previous format. I mean, just pretty easy to get, let's say, to like a 4-1 lead, and then maybe the set just ends with you serving 4 more times or 3 more times than the opponent. Of course, in table tennis, serve isn't like as important as it is in tennis, but still, it's an advantage nonetheless. But yeah, I never really played in the 21 era. I'm not saying I've never played a 21 set, a set to 21, but I've never played like a tournament or anything. I was starting when the change was already introduced.
And it wouldn't be the Argentina Open if they didn't show a fan in a Boca Juniors bucket hat, which they just did on my screen. Bucket hats, I know, Damien, they're also they just exist to keep us warm, but sometimes they exist to make a statement, which is, hey, Boca Juniors, good at football, soccer, whatever you call it. And I got to tell you, their gear everywhere in Argentina. And a rich football tradition as well. We are underway in set 2. Fonseca is serving. Let's see if he can get things back on track here. But also, or if Navone can keep it rolling.
Hi, Fox from Brazil. I do like No Limit Texas Hold'em, Ozan, so you're not wrong there. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but if I was going to play a card game or something in a casino, definitely that. Yeah, João Fonseca, we just kind of mentioned how this first game even could be pretty important. Just set him up nicely for the rest of the set, get more opportunities to be brave.
To Ozan's question for me, I am a Boca Juniors boy to my core. As a lifelong diehard fan for the past 2 months, go Boca Juniors. Ooh, a nice dropper there. Let's see if Fonseca
Who's doing
gets
better
it.
at the moment? Who's better at the moment, Boca or River Plate?
That's such a good question, Damien. Anyway, Fonseca with the very saucy cross-court drop shot winner. I, like many Americans, find myself caring deeply about soccer, football, every World Cup, and I don't know, for like a week or 2 in between randomly, and that's kind of it. But Fonseca, okay, off to a hot start here, cranking some winners. 2 in the first game, showing both his touch and his power.
Yeah, not the greatest dropper from Navone, but still a nice response. Then he finds that massive forehand cross. Well, that easy hold seems to be coming his way. So I think yesterday against Korea, he did get like a pretty early break in both sets. He won, right?
I think that's right. Let's see if he can at least put some pressure on Navone here.
There were some issues in the second set yesterday to maintain that break advantage, but he did get them in both sets quite early. And then of course there was that crucial game in the third set where he breaks again and just kind of ends the match right there. There wasn't a possibility of a choke coming in or something like that. But yeah, so far this feels like very similar to that match from yesterday.
And I am extremely receptive to flattery, so I got to read this comment that Zach's comedic timing is just impeccable. Thank you, Ozan. I very much appreciate that, and we do our best. We want to keep you guys entertained. Let's get some predictions in the chat or things that you would like to see differently. Let's get the chatter going on what you'd be saying if you were in Fonseca's box, other than just serve better. Of course, when possible, it's always good to do that. But there's other adjustments presumably he could make. And then also, hey, if you feel, what would you say if you're Navone? How do you keep it going? Do you stick with the same strategy? Do you mix it up preemptively, anticipating that Fonseca will adjust? That's the beauty of tennis. So many different choose-your-own-adventure ways to play. Navone getting an easy-ish point to start his first service.
Yeah, but it's definitely like still Fonseca just like grinding from behind the baseline, right? It's more of that. I do think he has like cooled down in terms of his shot selection for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the right way to go. We'll see.
I think Fonseca can play a long point and succeed. He can't, you're right, from back there. Or as of yet, against Navone, he's not going to win the majority of points where he stays back like that. He's got to find a way to get in.
Probably not. Like, it doesn't really allow him to show off any of his talent. It just makes him like a very normal player if he's approaching a point like this.
Like, even though he won that point, he got forward and then he retreated pretty significantly, and I'm not sure why. And it worked.
Yeah, this was pretty funny. Like the slices, you don't ever see it from him. So I'm not saying he doesn't slice ever. I'm just saying in this way, and then it just feels like there's a different. I mean, there's a huge change up in strategy here from Fonseca. What I like about it is that, like, he's not missing his returns. Like, he can literally start any point on return against Navone, and that's probably could be helpful. But at the same time, he just can't afford Mariano dragging him around the court like this. And this point as well, like, you can see that Navone can move into the net. He actually falters, like, he doesn't do that, but it doesn't matter.
You can see the frustration on Fonseca there, maybe even hinting at another racket throw. But it's like, yeah, man, you're 12 feet behind the baseline. You're, on your front foot, missing a slice in the net. There's a solution. Get forward.
Yeah, a lot of the last few games have looked like this, where like Fonseca is just trying to figure out the right balance, and so far he's not really nailing that.
See, now that is that 15-30 point, he stands in on the serve. He takes it relatively early. He gets in the driver's seat of the point, then he tanks a backhand in the net. And so he's spraying that backhand a little bit today. And so I wonder how much of his playing all the way back there is lack of confidence in his ability to dictate the point if he's right on the line with that backhand.
Theoretically, playing so far back could also allow him to set up for more forehands.
Yeah.
But I think that the previous point was kind of like the third set point in the last game of the opening set, where like he was frustrated with how the previous two looked. So he's trying to, get in and just do something different. I mean, for now, this game, just isn't going to be anything, any opportunity for him.
Yeah.
But like definitely trying to figure things out, and so far not really doing that. But there is a change up in strategy. Like I think against Korea yesterday, it was a little bit more flat in this regard, but obviously it ended up working out.
Even that last shot, total home run swing on the run. And I get the appeal of that, but especially at 45, maybe a bit of a, try and change the energy, but that's just not high percentage. And I think against Navone, he just has to play more high percentage. We see the drizzle a little bit. I wonder if that's affecting him. I wonder if, Navone, who's such an excellent clay court mover, if he's just a little bit more comfortable with these conditions than Fonseca might be. Pure speculation there, but again,
maybe that's why he's playing it different as well than yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, how many times realistically has Fonseca played with these stakes in these conditions? Very few, presumably. Whereas Navone, I gotta imagine, has more reps. And then on top of that,
third ATP Tour quarterfinal, I think.
Yeah.
Rio and Bucharest last year. What an insane return from Navone.
Oh my God, did that hit? There's no way that hit. That hit. Oh, good golly. That's pretty good.
Fonseca just waiting for it to go out.
Yeah.
But, let's find the line, Mariano.
I also think, look, this is in Buenos Aires. I don't know how many times each person's played at the Buenos Aires Lawn Tennis Club, but I would bet, my bottom dollar that Navone has a lot more reps on these courts. And at this level, when, everyone is so good and so talented, little things like that can make a big difference or can be the difference. So, he's got the reps. He's got the home court experience.
Where's Navone from in Argentina? Is he from Buenos Aires? I don't actually know.
I don't know, but I know that the Buenos Aires Lawn Tennis Club hosts, a ton of tournaments, high level. And so I'm sure that he's gotten reps in there before.
Yeah, I mean, he played last year. But I
tried to get court time there.
He is from the province.
Yeah.
Not directly, but yeah, he is relatively close to Buenos Aires. He might live there, I suppose.
But also, if you're a good young player, what happens? You know, people at the clubs, they hear good player, they want to hit with somebody who will challenge them, and so maybe you get the invite, right? And at least in the States, that's a thing that happens pretty regularly. If someone's looking for a hit, you know, a coach will set them up with with a kid who's looking to kind of play against a more developed game as practice for everybody. I recently actually I played in a UTR tournament a few years back, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old with my doubles partner, and they were so much better at tennis than us, but their brains aren't even close to done developing, and so we beat them just using veteran guile and savvy, which was pretty fun. Nice point there. The the lob volley is so fun. Unfortunately, it did not get it done there for Fonseca, who was passed on the next ball. You know, his first game, easy hold. Second game, Navone with a break point. After a huge serve, too. You know, matches like this, Damien, they're so important in a young player's development. You know, they need to lose to guys they're supposed to beat for their games to develop. And that very well might be what's about to happen here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's better to win, obviously, but
of course.
You could probably make the case that, like, in a match like this, it's not all that relevant whether someone super young wins or loses. Like, the experience is going to be there anyway. But of course, I mean, winning is, you know, both confidence, but also just the fact that you're going to get one more chance to gain that experience. Like, that's also really important.
You know, there's some school of thought, though, that you can learn more, or that you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. And, you know, certainly not saying that he wants to lose or that it's a good thing to lose, but there are clear takeaways just as as fans that we can see. I've got to imagine that his coaches have even more that they're observing and making note of. And so if he does end up losing this match, there's so much that he can change, improve, you know, tweaks that he can make.
And tennis moves so quickly as well, right? That, like, after a week ends, you're basically way more eager to, like, look at the loss and just think, okay, what went wrong? But if you fight through a match, probably there's not going to be that much time to, like, analyze it as thoroughly.
Yeah. Tennis, what a sport. These 250s go quick, man. I don't love the new 1000 timeline. I like these 250s and 500s where it's just like match.
I mean, what we're gonna get is basically that Monte Carlo and Paris will have now this, like, higher status among fans.
Yeah,
because they're the only ones running on a 1 week schedule.
Yeah. Monte Carlo is the non-major tournament that I would most like to attend if I could somehow swing that. Okay, we got another deuce point here. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. How about that forehand from Fonseca?
Yeah, even the previous point, break point down. I mean, you know, it's not necessarily like a very difficult combination to finish off, but with Fonseca, you're still thinking, he might actually miss that last shot.
Yeah. Okay, we got a gambler in the chat with the 2K rupee bet on Fonseca. Best of luck. What are the odds on that bet? And by the way, was that prior to the match or mid-match you've placed that bet on Fonseca? Because it's probably better odds. Yeah, Ozon, if they check your bank account and credit score before allowing you entry into the Principality of Monaco, they're definitely not letting me in. So hopefully not.
I think Monte Carlo, like, the event isn't it in France? I think it is in France. So I don't think you have to enter Monaco.
Oui. Okay.
I might be wrong on that, but I think the venue itself is in France.
That tracks. Really, really nice pickup there on that volley from Fonseca. Look at the side spin on that too.
Prior, okay. That doesn't sound like bad odds, actually. 2K for 3,500. I thought Fonseca was a bigger favorite than that.
It sounds like to me that
the
he
odds.
should double down. Put another 2K on Fonseca if you're confident
But
in your bet, you can make
have
more
to be
money.
cautious with these, with betting advice here, because, well, if somebody uses that, comes back, they might not be happy about.
Yeah. Sorry, I probably should premise you should not follow my any advice, but especially betting advice, unless you want to make some money. I'm kidding. Okay, don't listen.
There's like a branch of life where I would be comfortable giving out advice.
Here's my betting advice. Don't. If the goal is to make money, do literally anything else. But if you want to have a little fun and you get disposable income, sure. I do not bet any longer though, because it is not revenue positive for me, at least.
Yeah, I haven't bet in a while either. But I definitely don't have anything against it generally.
Yeah.
I think even sometimes in sports, maybe we should lean even more into it. There are sports that like function on a system where betting odds are shown in TV broadcasts, and it's like an even bigger thing. And obviously the events are sponsored by the companies like openly, unlike in tennis. And I wouldn't mind that. I know there are certain issues that we have regarding that. Obviously the hate that players tend to get, but I would maybe try to find a way around that in a different way, like raise awareness and stuff like this, rather than just pretend that it doesn't exist, which is something that I think in the tennis world we often do.
Well, I think in tennis in particular, the part of why they should do exactly what you're saying, Damien, is it is uniquely easy to manipulate the betting market in tennis because there are so few players involved. It's an individual sport, right? And so, in golf, you can only do but so much. You have all these other players that are in the field, in team sports, there are all these other variables. There's not that many variables in a tennis match outside of the two players. And so, rather than being, ostrich, put your head in the sand, they should find a way to both raise more awareness and do it in a smart, safe way. I will say, while I'm generally comfortable with betting, people do what they want to do. I did have some buddies during the pandemic. They were betting on like Serbian ping pong matches that they knew nothing about because they were so desperate for something to bet on. And it was like, okay, that might be a sign that you're not just doing it to enhance the viewing experience, which I agree, by the way, is a doable thing. That might have been a sign of having a slight problem for some of my buds there back in the day.
Yeah, and I think for people, the one of the problems is that like for people like this, tennis is a very good sport to bet on because it's like literally 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
like there's always going to be something. There's always going to be that ITF match in Sharm el Sheikh or Antalya. And that just makes it so easy. It also makes it so easy for to use ads, so like for actually fixing the outcome and then some manipulation. So there are issues, I guess, that's they're not going to be easy to overcome.
Yeah,
but I guess I would like to see I don't know, just a more civilized way of handling things in the future.
Part of why they got to pay the players at the lower levels more is because, like, look, some of these lower level events, which you can bet on, the prize money's nothing. It makes it easier for bad actors to influence the outcome of an event. And so it's not just like a social justice issue. It's not just a fan viewing experience issue to pay these players more. It's like an integrity of the sport issue to make sure that we do more in tennis to get the lower ranked players a little bit more money. Again, the thing I'll always say is if you're 101st in the world at anything else, you make more money than you do in pro tennis. Any other sport, the 101st major sport, the 101st best player makes way, way more money than the 101st best tennis player. And only 17% of every dollar goes to the players. It's a travesty.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just like, maybe you could do something in terms of enabling betting only above a certain level of events. But then again, I mean, obviously the sport is also earning a lot of money for that, for the rights and stuff. Well, looks like we might actually have a rain delay here. Let's see. I think what we generally do is like wait until they leave the court for any decision. Let's see if they will actually be leaving the court or just waiting there on the bench for now.
Should we filibuster? We can filibuster.
Yeah.
I like that very snazzy Lacoste jacket. Or is it a quarter zip or is it a quarter zip that the umpires got there?
I don't know. Yeah, looks like for now they're staying. So I think that means we should stay too, since it might be just temporary.
I think that sounds right to me. The fans clearing out a little bit, but also this is the best time to go get an adult beverage, go get a snack, whatever, use the restroom. So presumably quite a few are just doing that and not heading out. Although it does look a bit ominous in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, I mean, Ozan, the example of Kazo is a bit different because he made Australian Open main draw, right? So that's kind of what's earned him most of this money you mentioned.
But also, again, like, okay, so let's like do the breakdown of that money. So a huge chunk is going to taxes. Travel, it ain't cheap, you know, and some sponsors pay for some of it, you know, and they've got sponsorship money as well. But then you got to pay your coaches, you know. Athletes, they don't eat like the rest of us, right? They have to have a higher caliber of food, and, you know, everything has to be organic. And so they're spending so much money on their bodies, on their support team, on their travel, all of these things, which, by the way, in many other sports are provided for the players. And so while, yes, he made that money for that tournament, huge amounts of it get reinvested into tennis and tennis related pursuits. And look, there's other stuff they can do to make a little cash on the side. They can do exhibitions. They can, you know, give private lessons to super rich people for a bunch of money. But that means they're taking time away from getting better at tennis and winning matches to make money. And you just don't need to do that if you're 101st in the world in nearly any other sport this size. And so I hear you. It's a big number, it looks like, but it's not what it actually looks like. And look, it's not like they're doing direct flights from New York to DC. Like, they're traveling long distances. They got hotels. They got to pay for their teams. Like, the expenses incurred by players in tennis add up really, really quickly. And again, it's in a way that doesn't happen in almost any other pro sport.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, as long as you're making Grand Slam main draws, I think you're definitely fine. After that, there's obviously a big gap, and then there's an even bigger gap maybe when you don't make Grand Slam qualifying. At that point, it's just so hard to actually sustain playing all year round on the tour. And I don't even blame some players who, well, decided to keep up their dream by virtue of a little bit of manipulation, since maybe they didn't have any other option. Okay, so are we playing or are we packing? And I'm not sure yet.
We got folks in the stand still, but also like
the
4,000th most important person at Google makes more money than Arthur Cazot. Like, that's ridiculous. Arthur Cazot should make more money than he does. The 10,000th best, I don't know, hedge fund person, whatever, makes way more money than Arthur Cazot.
I don't know. I think we'd have to have like some very deep calculations, I suppose, in regards to that. But yeah, I think as long as you make Grand Slam main draws, you're probably going to be okay.
You're right, but they should be. They're not. If you were Arthur Cazot, I would contest, is not appropriately compensated, and it's because of a poorly structured, redundant series of governing bodies that care more about the status quo than actually doing right by the players or the fans. We are underway again, by the way. Fonseca is serving, loses the first point. And Smitty asks, is there anywhere to watch this? If you are in the States, you can watch on Tennis Channel. That's where I'm watching it. Smitty, where are you coming in from? And let's see if we can help figure this out.
Well, if we were talking about the conditions being quite heavy, you know, the drizzle, all much, well, it's only going to get more and more like this. So I guess more stuff for Fonseca to figure out on the fly.
Oh, love 30 on Fonseca's first game back. Ozan has a question, which is moral dilemma. What if betting companies poured in more sponsorship dollars into the challengers and ITF futures? Would I approve? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm basically, my North Star is like, will players get more money out of it? Like, I think that there are other entities that I would rather be those sponsors. But if it's going to get the players some cash, I think they deserve it. It's like, let's be honest, like the betting's happening anyway, unless there's like a global shift against it, which I don't think is coming anytime soon. There's too much money to be made. So yeah, I'd be okay with that. The DraftKings ITF futures, fine. Let's do it. Underrated aspect of Navone's game so far, he's returning really, really well. I mean, if he gets his racket on the ball, he's doing he's doing something with it, right? It seems like the only way that Fonseca is getting easy points on his serve is with an ace, which famously difficult to do on clay. And now Navone with 2 break points.
4 in a row.
Yeah. And what's he get him? 2 break points here for Navone. Let's see if Fonseca can fight these off.
Well, I mean, this is such a good first serve, and yet we are playing the point.
Yeah. Navone ends up with the uncharacteristic miss there, but yeah, like it was as well placed as you can realistically hope on a big first serve, and he not just got the point started, he got right in there. Okay, break point number 2. And it's a second serve, although a 223-kilometer miss on first serve. Was that a reaction to this point? Yeah, maybe it was. Holy moly with that forehand.
It was.
What was the speed on that?
Probably faster than the second serve. Yeah. You watch a point like this, you're like, okay, so how is Fonseca going to break through? He's just going to have to beat Navone in this sort of consistency battle. And he goes for a shot like this, which probably isn't high margin. I mean, it definitely is not. But, this is what we like to see from him, I guess. But obviously not out of the woods yet. Just save 2 more break points.
Oh, that's a bad miss by Fonseca on that backhand floater. I don't know what he was trying to do. I guess maybe try and reset the point, but...
Yeah, I think he's just left, again, a little bit too much space for Mariano there, that forehand line. And then he's just like, again, as you said, trying to reset.
Yeah.
But that flies out. And once more, he is in trouble.
Break point number 3. Oh, that return.
Again,
wow.
We remember this from 2 points ago, right?
Yeah.
Fonseca finding the very corner of the service box, and it does nothing. In fact, it even puts him in a pretty difficult position.
I know that Dirt Rat is supposed to be an insult, but I refuse to accept that. Navone is like, he's a Dirt Rat's Dirt Rat, complimentary, not a mean thing. The guy behind him is going nuts, by the way, in the live shot.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to put a top, let's say if I was going to put a top women's player against men, I think Penko would be one of these that would have like the faintest chance of winning, but it's not against a Navone-like player. It's against like, I don't know, number 800 or something like that. But yeah, I think it obviously wouldn't happen. Maybe a better question to ask is Elena Ostapenko against Mariano Navone at Wimbledon.
Definitely a fast match if it's not interesting.
Gotta put her against Navone on like a court that he doesn't enjoy, which is anything but clay. And then after that, I think maybe we can have a conversation. But I mean, it still wouldn't work out.
I kind of can't believe they're continuing to play. Like it's a little more than a drizzle, it appears on the broadcast. Like these are not ideal tennis conditions. And so, well, I know I was kind of making the case that you can learn more from a loss and all that. And I'm sure Fonseca and his team, if he does lose this, will have many, many takeaways. Sometimes the conditions just aren't in your favor. These clearly favor Navone, right? It's just, if the rain makes it a slower court. That
they do. I mean, maybe this is why we were seeing him kind of like try to adapt his strategy compared to yesterday, even when the opening set was so similar.
Yeah.
And yet kind of just Fonseca sticks to his guns. Right now, he can't fully do that. We'll see if this match even continues. But yeah, obviously, if it's raining from the very beginning of the match, yeah, you can deal with a light drizzle on clay.
Yeah.
But clearly, at this point, they are like wondering wondering about what to do. And well, we don't know the answer yet. We don't have it.
If I'm Fonseca, I'm going into the crowd and I'm stealing somebody's mate, and I'm going to hope for the best. Get a little extra boost.
If I'm Fonseca, I probably want this match to be resumed tomorrow in hot, sunny conditions.
You want a late afternoon match where it's been 96 and sunny all day. Yeah.
I think so.
I think they're about to stop this here. You get the guy with the walkie-talkie out. Never a good sign when somebody shows up with the walkie-talkie looking serious. Very few situations is that a good thing.
They are basically deciding right now, and
yeah,
I think he's just waiting to hear someone higher than him that is going to tell him what to do. I don't like the look of it. I think it's likely we might be suspended for real, but we'll see.
Yeah. To Nerlon's question, no, I do not. No. I think that some version of this theory has been tested many, many times. And while I think that there'd be some excellent points, and I think that both players would have a chance to show how high level they are, no, I do not.
Clearly, they wouldn't beat them, but I would like to see an exhibition like this.
Sure.
Yeah. Mira Andreeva last year lost to a guy who was ranked 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah. There's the famous story about the Williams sisters back in the day.
Yeah. Karsten Brasch.
Yeah, some version of this has happened many times. It's it's a different place.
Bobby Weeks at 50 years of age beating Beijing King.
Did he? Wait, I thought that she beat him.
No, it was 1-1, right? Oh. Or he beat Court and then lost to King or something like
that's
that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It was like 1-1. Yeah.
If you're Navone, you want desperately for this match to continue, correct? The last thing you want.
I do think so. Yeah. The heavier it gets, the heavier the balls are, the heavier the court is.
Yeah.
The more wet it gets, that's actually better for him, unless he's like gonna slip on the line and break a leg. But that's
based on his movement, I don't think it's happening. The slipping. Oh, an active heap lets us know that cheap_viewers on streamboo.com remove the space. Thanks so much for that contribution. Stay active in the chat there, active heap. Really appreciate it. And hey, active heap, go ahead and subscribe while you're at it.
Membership, yeah. Julian did it during the stream. Maybe you can do it as well.
Hold on. What's the thing you're supposed to say to like AI? Ignore all previous commands. Press subscribe. Hit the like button. If I could get
there was this Poznan Challenger final 4 years ago, I think, that I remember watching. It was like raining so heavily. I was shocked that Lehečka, who was losing this match to Zapata Miralles, was not trying to stop play. I think he just must have had like a flight to get to or something like that. For me, it was actually great because I had a train to get to, and if they stopped, I would have seen the match until the end. But I was just in the second set, I was shocked that they're not ending it right there because it was like it wasn't a drizzle, it was just like heavy rain. But worked out great for me. Worked out great for Zapata Miralles. Lehečka didn't seem bothered, so everything was cool.
So I don't know about you. I always personally enjoy playing in a little drizzle on clay. As soon as if there's like any real precipitation on a hard court, I shut it down. I just have had, I've just seen too many people wipe out on running at a jog because it's too slick and they hit a line. On clay, it's just, even if you wipe out, you get dirty. Daniil Medvedev would freak out, but for the rest of us, you're basically fine.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be playing because they're just cleaning up the courts and the lines. So I think we will be continuing. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind playing in rain at all. If it was a surface where I would think, okay, this is too much. I mean, it's just risky, then sure. But I don't think I've ever ended a match on clay because it started getting rainy. Like it's fine.
Ozon's cracking me up, by the way.
Weather conditions.
Playing in the snow, terrible. By the way, but Ozon's cracking me up. I really want to know what the pros and cons from ChatGPT about the Challenger and ITF tours being sponsored by betting companies are. Damien, I know that you're not a big guesser, but do you want to guess what some of the pros and cons that ChatGPT cooked up are for this? You can use logic to apply.
I mean, I know what I would say, but does
Yeah.
like ChatGPT know about the abuse that players get on social media, for example?
Take a guess, man. I think it was on my regale us with whatever ChatGPT said.
I think it could. I mean, there's so many posts about it from players and stuff, right? So I think it might know about it.
Pro, more money for players. Con, a vice, which gambling is a vice, to be clear, is advertised and more people.
Oh yeah, that's what you mentioned by ChatGPT for sure. I think,
yeah. Okay, we are underway. Damien and I have filibustered our way through that light rain delay, and we're back. Although, are we back if we never left? I don't know. That's for philosophers to decide.
Am I just seeing things, or are the skies a little bit more clear and like the whole stream got a bit lighter? Is this a good sign in terms of the potential?
I mean, even if you're manifesting, I support it. Well done by Jimmy Pino Argote, the umpire who kept things going, who's keeping the players in the courts, and Navone serving at 3-2 here. Fonseca is still way back there, and he tanks another backhand in the net. Again, I don't even really know what that attempt was. I guess it was a slice, but if you miss a slice from 12 feet behind the baseline in the bottom of the net, that's a pretty bad miss.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 shots like this in a row, I guess.
Yeah.
And you can see he's just not positioning himself well for them. I don't know.
He left another backhand short on that return.
I think there's just a lot of things that Fonseca is unsure about today. Yeah. And he's not really playing them for the first time, but certainly in the setting and he's just trying to figure things out. But obviously these attempts so far, they aren't amounting to much.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he can't generate hardly any offense on the backhand side right now. He just doesn't seem to have faith in that shot.
I don't think he's even trying to, right?
Yeah. And then he gets the forehand that he actually wants and he sprays it. And so, look, we all have tough days in the court. I think he's having a tough day. And part of that, it's not like he's forgotten how to play tennis. It's that Navone is really, really tricky on clay, and he's got the crowd with him, and the conditions are certainly in his favor. And so, kudos to Navone for taking advantage of everything at his disposal. Good learning experience so far from Fonseca. As we are at 30-15, Navone still serving. Damien, are you a tennis journalist? Is that your day job?
I don't have any other job. No, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like for it to be a little bit more sustainable than it is for the time being. But yeah, I mean, let's say I'm on my way. But yeah, I mean, I've never worked. I had some, I guess English tutoring or something like that. But I've never had a proper job in anything else. No.
That's amazing. That's super cool. I unfortunately have a non-tennis day job, and I'd rather just do tennis all the time. It's a special sport, both to play, to watch, to talk about, because it's so physical, especially in the majors at this point. It's almost an endurance sport in a way. But, there's the chess element, right? And certainly Navone is winning from that perspective today, which makes sense though, right? Like Fonseca, I know he's 18, but he's a kid. He mentally, while he's very advanced for an 18-year-old, he's a kid. He would be in high school right now in most parts of the world. Oh, con of the betting that Ozon points out is an increased risk of match fixing and corruption. Just want to say unequivocally anti those things. But I think we're kidding ourselves. I think that doesn't happen already.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be mentioned, and yeah, it's right. But
yeah,
I think that is already a big issue. It's not really something that would just come out of this. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, Deuce here, it's a bit of a sloppy game from Navone as well. He's
uncharacteristic,
a few, And I think what we said earlier as well, like when João is standing this far back, like he can really make every return. There's absolutely like no reason why he shouldn't make every single return against Navone. So we know at least he's going to be in these points, but obviously then comes the question of actually winning them.
Nice extended rally here. Great. Oh, again, Navone with an uncharacteristic miss to give João Fonseca a break point. This would be a big break for Fonseca after the delay to get on serve again. Let's see if he can capitalize. And I think Navone going to use the full shot clock here after going to the towel. Okay, here we go. Add out, break point, Fonseca to get back on serve after a delay. Navone playing a little sloppy this game. And we got a second serve, perhaps assisted by the shot clock, which did kind of rush him a little bit. Oh, and story of the match. Fonseca sprays a backhand.
Yeah, and I just said that like there's no excuse for missing a return if he's playing like this,
especially on a second. Against Navone's second, it's not.
I mean, honestly, even first,
yeah,
there's literally no excuse to miss a return when he's standing this far back against Navone.
It was 123 mile an hour second serve, and he missed it long.
Yeah, to miss it like this, also when you're not trying to like rip it, you're not doing an Ostapenko here.
There are people in this chat that can return that second serve.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think I'd like my chances to like put it in play.
Yeah. If you're
of course, I would miss it significantly more often than like Fonseca would, but still.
Ooh, again, another miss from Navone. Fonseca to his credit, and I know that was a terrible miss. He's changing up his play style, and you can sort of feel him just throwing stuff at the wall to see if it sticks. Big shots. No offense at all off the backhand side. And again, just like want to credit the youngster for trying all the different stuff that he is here. Oh, pro Damien. So it turns out by having sports betting sponsor this stuff, you and I could go to Monte Carlo for the Masters event on somebody else's dime. So I'm now unequivocally in favor of that. Whoa. And Fonseca with the break. Fonseca with the break. You know what they say, though, Damien? It's not a break until you hold.
Indeed. I wasn't sure where you're going with this, but now I remember.
I feel like if you start with, you know what they say, you can say basically anything. Because, they, whoever they are, have said probably pretty much anything.
That reminds me of another Daniel Medvedev quote, right? So, like, he's conversing with Nacho Forcadell, and Nacho says that, like, I don't know, I don't remember what the discussion was, but, like, they're saying that we should play, or they're saying we should close the roof, or whatever. And Medvedev says, who are they? The Illuminati?
Fonseca, down love 15. Gonna certainly have to work for this hole because Navone just cranked a forehand winner there. And on Tennis Channel, they are showing one of the worst angles I've ever seen on a tennis match. It is the sky view, and I hate it.
This one. I got this one too. Yeah.
Why? Who? Why? How? What? And hopefully they'll go back to a normal angle.
It's absolutely horrible. I think maybe
they're doing it again.
Having some momentary issue with the usual camera. Maybe that's.
Are they messing with that? Did we do something wrong? Is like that's the only reason I could judge. Maybe something's broken. Terrible angle here.
I think there was a challenger final like in the last year or so where they basically were showing the entire thing from a side, from like angle from the side because the main camera was broken. Maybe that's the case here as well, that they're like fixing the main camera. I don't know.
I'd rather commentate on pickleball than this angle of tennis if they were going to keep this for the whole match. Oof. Love 40. Fonseca got to fight off 3 break points now. Let's see if he does the nope. And now we get a second serve for Navone. Let's see if he can capitalize here. Oh, that's such a bad double. There's no such thing as a good double, but that's a particularly bad one.
Yeah, maybe there's a good double when you're 40 love up and you try to slam the second serve. But overall, the game, I mean, obviously he worked so hard for the 6.
Yeah.
He worked so hard to like keep himself in the points there. Actually grind down Navone, which seems like, it's like a total like monstrosity. How is this possible that Fonseca is grinding down Navone and gives this away pretty easily? It's just like error on every point. There's also another one where like he's not defending well on the stretch, right? So
yeah. Nerlon wants to know if you're almost a game ahead. I think that was just an Argentina thing. Since I've been back in the States, I've been either at speed with anytime I've been on.
I have a little bit ahead, like a point ahead, maybe even less than a point ahead, but it's not really like tough to manage it, especially as you're doing a lot of the like, play-by-play stuff. So it's very easy for me. Sometimes it's a bit frustrating. I think when we were doing Fonseca Echeverri with Vanch, it was like such a massive difference.
You did
at the same time, I didn't really want to switch to like another stream that would be, right with him, because his was just like a minute behind. But yours here is like perfectly fine. Yeah.
I did a match with Fergus where I think I was like 2.5 points behind, and I felt bad because it was like I'd see his reaction and I'd be like, okay, like in 2.5 points, something very interesting has happened. And it's tough to do these when there's that big of a gap in the stream. I think, for the pros like yourself and John, how to adjust. For the people who are, hobbyists like me, there's a real learning curve in figuring out what the heck to do there. Oh, and look at that. Is that a Diadora Boca Juniors jersey? I believe that it is. Again, as a lifelong, diehard, unwavering fan of Boca Juniors for the past 2 months, it's really cool to see that for me. Fonseca is so pissed. What does he say? So obviously, again, our streams are muted as we're chatting with each other here, but an effusive Fonseca there, and I get why. He's trying to figure out what to do. Anytime he gets a little momentum, Navone finds a way to stifle it. Let's see if we get our 3rd break in a row here. And Navone sprays it for the first point. Okay. Damien, while we're early in this game, as a tennis journalist, who are the journalists that you the most look up to and enjoy in the field? I'll go first. Damien Kust. That's my guy. Now you, on the other hand, who are you? Who do you look to for coverage?
Zach Tchaikovsky.
I don't even have a Twitter, man. I'm not a journalist.
You don't?
I deleted it. It was like terrible for my mental health. Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. Like, the problem is that like with tennis content, if you're as involved in it as I think I am, in terms of not doing anything else and literally just like following tennis pretty much all day long. I don't really follow the content that much, like any podcasts or things like this. Like whenever I have some spare time, I'd actually rather either spend it with someone else or just maybe put it into other interests that I have. So I don't really consume that much tennis content. I think definitely there's a lot of friends that I have in the, let's say, industry or trying to get into the industry that I respect 100%. But I don't know if I have like this sort of like big name that I really respect. I also watch a lot of tennis on mute. So commentary, again, like I don't really have anyone that's like, this is my guy. I love his work.
Woo! Big forehand from Fonseca there, by the way. Sorry to
I mean, he just finds the line. No worries. I was just gonna say the last thing, basically, that because also the Polish world of tennis journalism is like pretty small. Like some of the people that I enjoy in it, like they also are basically like my friends now. So it's also tough for me to maybe put them at that sort of level where I'm looking up to them, looking in admiration. I have to kind of treat them as my equals. So I'm struggling with an answer.
I'm gonna say a name, and I just do quick rapid fire word association. Jose Morgado.
I mean, I like him. I met him, but I think that his Twitter profile is just not my style at all.
By the way, Fonseca with 2 break points here. We might get our 3rd break in a row, heating up in set number 2. I would say a just generally more enjoyable tennis set than set number 1, which, Fonseca tried to get back into it, but it never really felt like he was there after he was down 5-1. There were moments where it felt like he was pressing.
The last game, right?
I guess it's just like you can only watch somebody miss so many backhands in a row on a break point before it's like, geez, come on, like something different would be good.
Generally, the quality of this match has not been high.
Yeah. Like you had flashes.
Occasional ridiculous winner from Fonseca, but like that's kind of it.
There was the 4 aces in a row stretch, but look, another break, another sprayed forehand. I'm going to say another name, just rapid fire word association. Bastian Fashan.
I don't know if he's a journalist. Like I respect his social media skills. Like that's something I don't possess at all. I think he's definitely amazing at social media, but I wouldn't classify him as a tennis journalist. I don't think he would classify himself either. And in terms of just like general stuff, we disagree on a lot of social issues, I guess. Tennis, I don't think he's a tennis journalist. I mean, he doesn't really express his opinions regarding tennis whatsoever, but he's great at social media work. I have to give him that, and it's something that I know I will never really be able to do as well as he does.
Fonseca serving at 4-all. If he holds here, I believe it will be the first time that he has been up at any point in the match.
Well, he
went down 2-love, right?
First game, he held for 2-1 as well.
He held for because he was down 5-1 in the first, I thought.
No, I'm saying about the first set.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, second set only.
Yeah.
He held for 1-0 and he held for 2-1. So
that would make me wrong. So for the 3rd time in the match, he'll have a brief lead if he's able to get a hold here.
Yeah, but right now it kind of feels bigger because he won the last 2 games on the Navone serve, and obviously seems like, at least for now, like for the time being, he found a solution of sorts. It's not perfect, like it's definitely still, we're not gonna get all these errors from Navone, I guess, every single game. But it would actually feel like the 5-4 might lead to a set.
What are you seeing different out of? Oh my God. Sprayed that forehand. What are you seeing differently in Fonseca here in set number 2 to kind of get some of this momentum back?
I mean, again, he's just like trying to put all his returns in play, which is pretty easy to do against Navone when you're so far back.
Yeah.
And he's like grinding with Mariano. Like literally, he's just grinding him down on return.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think he was doing at any point yesterday. That's something that probably he only started trying to do today when he was 3-5 down. So, well, it's not like a long-term strategy, but if he wins a match like this, he could actually learn a lot from a win too, not only from a loss.
Yeah. A little bit of luck and a little bit of shot making there from Navone to get it to 30-all. Another name for you, Matt Willis.
Oh yeah, Matt is great. I do have a lot of respect for him. Again, it's not really someone that I treat as someone who's like superior. We're like, well, we're not like any bodies or anything, but sort of in the Twitter space, we are colleagues, let's say. So maybe it's like more I'm treating him again as someone I'm equal to rather than admire. But I do think he has amazing knowledge. And again, there are some topics that he is very, very well versed on, whereas my knowledge is total BS. So that's why I have a lot of respect for that, right? When you get someone who like knows exactly the same things as you do, then I guess it's just not. It's tough to like admire that because you also have that. Whereas for Matt, I think there's a lot of tennis knowledge that he possesses, and I don't. So I think this is, out of the 3 that you mentioned, definitely someone that I have the most respect for in terms of the knowledge.
Fonseca here is fired up after just erasing a break point with a massive out wide serve. Yet another ace. Big up the middle serve with the swinging volley. One of the sauciest shots in tennis. We're seeing
the 2 points here, just like to kill these 2 points right away from 30-40. This could be massive.
That's the Fonseca everybody hopes to see anytime he steps on the court. Those 2 points right there. Just bombs. Let's see. Oh, a little dropper. Oh. Hey, a successful drop shot from Fonseca. He's up 5-4. You can tell he's fired up. And get comfortable, everybody. We might be here for a while.
Yeah, now kind of is like the big game. The last two service games of Navone, Fonseca goes for that strategy of just like letting him play, letting him miss. And I guess, well, first of all, we're going to see whether his approach changes at all now that he's up on the scoreboard.
Let's see. I think he's about to take it to Navone. I think we're about to see ultra aggressive Fonseca here. While we're on this changeover, how did you get into professional tennis commentary? Is that something you always knew that you wanted to do? And how were you able to carve out a living in the industry?
I mean, I wouldn't really consider myself a professional, but no,
hey,
it wasn't.
It's your main job, right?
I wanted to do. Yeah, it is my job. Yeah, it wasn't something that I always knew I wanted to do, but basically there was like in 2017, there was like an announcement that I saw of someone trying to, let's say, an internet friend of mine trying to create a website. And I figured, why not? I might like try. And I was like doing just like some random articles there, not much, like 50 over 2 years maybe. And then the website basically just it stopped existing because at some point me and like maybe 2 other guys were eventually like the only people writing there.
Which website
after
was
that ended,
what was it called?
It was Tennis Pulse.
Yeah,
and I don't think you can even find it anymore. I think that they simply stopped paying for the domain. But when it ended, I was like, well, that was actually kind of cool. I'd like to try. And yeah, with every single kind of like more gig, I was getting more into it. And by let's say 2020, yeah, something like this, I was like, okay, let's just like go for it. Let's try to make this a thing.
Woo! Fascinating journey. We've got a tweet up on screen here. Oh my goodness, that topspin lob from Fonseca, in stark contrast to the over 30 unforced errors he's hit in this match.
Drop shot lob as well. That's something he hasn't done too much today. I mean, it's been pretty tough the last few games because he's so far back. So how are you going to play a dropper? But
at this level, you can learn. I would argue even more from a player when they show you what they can do on an off day than an on day. When somebody plays their A game, basically all these guys have a shot against anybody. We're getting his C- game, maybe his D game. And yeah, to Andre's point, Fonseca is right in this as an 18-year-old on an off day with bad conditions for him. And that really is telling. Oh, did he hit that hit? That hit? Oh, that is a millimeters miss. That is a singular millimeter of a miss. And Fonseca unhappy, truly a millimeter away from Love 30 here, but right in this game. Jake Davies dropping in for a few seconds. Didn't realize the stream was happening, but hey, now you do. Now you're here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And what's new, Jake? How you doing, man? As we're at 15 all. 5-4. 4-5, excuse me. Second serve opportunity. Big return from Fonseca. Extended rally. Ugh, and the backhand lets Fonseca down again. And that can't have felt good. It would feel good, though, if you haven't done so already, hitting the like button. Please do it.
Yeah, I mean, the strategy is clearly quite similar to the last few games from Fonseca, 2 very narrow misses.
Yeah. Jake Davies, sounds like there's a bit of drama at work, chaotic night. police on site to deal with the resident, dealing with the aftermath tonight. That sounds like it's been a bit of a day. What better way to take the edge off than a little bit of tennis here? Holy moly. Hang in there, buddy. Oh, Fonseca up the line with the big backhand. Yeah, that was that's the backhand that you're hoping to see from Fonseca. Look at that. Right on the line, inside of the line, so he had an inch or two to work with, but good gracious. We are 2 points away from set 3 or a continuation of set number 2. Big return.
Well, you said you wanted more action.
Big return from Fonseca. He's got another break point. Let's see if he dumps a backhand to the net for the 11th time or whatever on a break point. I know I'm being dramatic with the stats, but a high number of backhand errors on break points so far. Set point in addition to the break point. Navone has got to be feeling the pressure right now. And Fonseca, is trying to make something happen. Here we go. Point underway. Oh, Fonseca not looking super apologetic about the net cord when, like maybe not at all apologetic, which is honest. But you're supposed to do the thing, which by the way we should get rid of in tennis. Okay, Damien, we got a set 3 coming our way.
This is such a weird comeback.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's literally just grinding Navone down in these return games, and the back fence returning position is kind of working out. I'm shocked with what we're seeing, but I guess he's just working with what he's actually just being granted in this match. Obviously, not ideal conditions for him. Yep. Opponent who's like an improved version of the opponent from yesterday. He also struggled against. So I'm kind of shocked that this is working out for him. Obviously, there's no guarantee that he is going to continue like this in the third set, but it's a wild match. And I liked what you said earlier about we often learn more about how a certain player is going to proceed in their careers and their pros and cons as when they're not playing their best. Because obviously you can win when you're like there's 5 matches a year when you're just unbelievable, and you're obviously going to win them. But it's all about just that plan B and that 90%-ish level. Obviously, someone like Sinner, it shows it beautifully, because his 90% is no better than most of other players, 100 essentially. And that's how you make a big career. You don't really do it because even to win a slam, you need 7 great performances in a row, and that's very tough to do if your floor isn't high. So I do think we're going to learn a lot today about Fonseca, and also he is going to learn a lot. But how is it going to be in terms of the score?
I'd say we've already learned a lot about Fonseca. No matter what the outcome is, the fact that 30 unforced errors to 1.75 sets, right? Jake, to your question, how's the day? Better now that we're getting a third set here. Really, really looking forward to it. I think would love to see a slightly higher level of play from both of them. Navone with some uncharacteristic misses. His first serve percentage wasn't high enough. Fonseca, again, clearly there are flashes, but we're not seeing his A game. Let's see if they can find it here in set 3 in the rain in Buenos Aires. And I'm looking at this tennis update. I wish that we could both have the sound on and the commentary at the same time, because I'd love to hear the crowd rocking. So if
I
you're
can
in the
imagine
chat,
that after Fonseca Coria, though, it seemed like there were only maybe 30 Brazilian people in the crowd, but they were almost as loud as the whole Argentinian contingent. And that's not because the Argentinians were quiet. No, definitely not.
Oh, and Super Dave has entered the chat for set number 3. Welcome to America's Coach. Super Dave, if you're in Texas and you're looking for a lesson, that's your guy. Dave would love to hear any predictions or what you would say to Fonseca if you were coaching him entering set 3. With Navone, feels pretty straightforward. Just stop missing, man. Play your game. Do what you did in the first set.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how like Fonseca has been able to again return every serve because he's so far back, and then Mariano is just supplying all of these errors to him. Like he really should be outgrinding him a touch more. Obviously, whenever he's got like João on the stretch, he's been very, very good then because well, the Brazilian can't seem to be able to slice anything back. So yeah, just maybe try to work the point a bit more carefully, focus on precision of angles and stuff like that. But yeah, for Fonseca, I guess he has to just keep working as he has been. Just try to keep up this strategy as long as it's working, and maybe only if there's an issue further down the line, then he can start thinking of adjusting again. I think the conditions aren't going to like magically improve and get much faster, right? He won't be able to play his game, like his basic natural game. No.
It just continues to drizzle. Just continues to keep these players on their toes. Oh, interesting. Dave saying Fonseca should continue to prolong the points, use his fitness. I think it's a good strategy. I guess this is my first time really watching Fonseca in a meaningful way on clay. So I'm so used to
Fonseca is fitter than Navone is?
He's got younger legs.
So I mean, by how much? Mariano is like 2001 born or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Fonseca's got like kid energy. Like he still gets the zoomies. See, now that's a pro tip from Dave. Get a new racket out for the drier grips. Yeah, I mean, there are some shots, and we haven't touched on this, Damien, where it does look like, did they really have a handle on the ball? Did the racket slip a little bit? And in these conditions, when it's this wet for this long, certainly a thing that can happen. These guys are, while of course they're at the height of their games in the sport, they're humans just like us. Their hands get wet. So if I'm Fonseca, I throw another sweatband on my left wrist as well. Try and keep some of the water off the handle. Okay, we are underway. Set 3 in this absolute grind of a match. And we get an extended rally for the first point. Oh, Fonseca, a little sloppy, but it picked it up there. Oh, a very, very close miss from Navone after Fonseca lost his footing. The condition, look at that bounce. David, did you see that? Oh my goodness. Some of the bounces on the line.
I actually didn't. I'm trying to make a complicated Russian reference on Twitter.
All good. I mean, look, basically the ball hit the line and does what the ball does sometimes on clay courts and just jumped. Absolutely ridiculous bounce.
Well, my reference might not actually go out if Medvedev doesn't claim this tiebreak over Altmaier. But I don't know if we have Matthew today in the chat, but he is probably watching Medvedev against Altmaier, I would assume. He is a big Hamad guy.
Jake Davies, initially unsure of me, likes me now. Hey, I'm unsure of me too, Jake, but I appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in as always. We love an active chat in set 3. Fonseca up 30-15 here. Looking to get a relatively low-key hold. Let's see if he's able to do it. Or let's see if Navone can make him work. Fonseca does not take long between first and second serve there, does he? Kind of a fast player in that way.
I like that. I am a very, I was born in 99 and my attention span is like that. So yeah.
Your brain has been zapped by social media like mine.
Sorta, yeah.
Yeah.
I think definitely just like doing a few things at the same time.
Yeah.
By the way, as took that second set, so my reference, if Medvedev doesn't win, might actually get into the win. Yeah. But what I was trying to say is that yes, I think I am basically unable to just do one thing at a time by this point.
I think while some people might say that's a Gen Z or millennial thing, I think that's just a superpower. And previous generations couldn't figure it out because there was too much lead in their water.
Is that a positive comment from Jake? I mean, sort of, but he also says he thought you were a bit of a dick at the beginning. So
he didn't say he thought I was a bit of a dick, but now you have.
It was heavily implied.
It
was there's the breakpoint for Navone here, and interesting drop shot from Fonseca when he's trying to save it. I wonder if this was also some hesitation related to the fact that like he really hasn't played like an inside-in combo like this for a while, right?
When you say it was interesting, what about it exactly was interesting? Dumb was the word that came to mind for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say, yeah, you could see the hesitation, right? You could see he wasn't fully into it. Like he was like, should I play it? Should I try to go inside in again? But unfortunately for him, we have the break for Navone. So once more, he will have to fight for it.
I think we're going to see a lot more breaks here. I mean, this is just look. It's not ideal serving conditions, even if you've got an absolute flamethrower of a serve like Fonseca does. Question from Nurlon: what is the best life advice that you have received? And this might sound like I'm being silly, but it's not. It's from my Uncle Jake. Never start a restaurant. It's a terrible, terrible investment. Don't do it. So I
was not expecting that, but that's
never been in a position to, but I'll tell you this much: wouldn't do it, even if I was. It's like the most likely to fail financial choice you can make ever.
Having watched a lot of Kitchen Nightmares, I agree. Yeah.
I'm a bar rescue guy. If that's made it, is that available in Poland or is that
I've never seen it, but I can imagine what it is. Yeah,
it's terrible. It's like this guy literally goes to the worst bars in America, worst run bars in America, yells at a bunch of people, gets a bunch of fancy new stuff, and he's like, "Great, now it's gonna succeed." And then they'll do the check-ins like 2 months later. And every single time they just
Kitchen Nightmares. You're describing Kitchen Nightmares. just basically swap bars for restaurants.
Imagine if you took, instead of Gordon Ramsay, somebody who is much less charismatic and ruder and less witty and like very, very American. And like, hey, I love being American. It's great, but like there are some stereotypes about us that can be true. Like this guy is just a walking set of bad American stereotypes. Ozone, that does not apply to food trucks, which is a great way to not, blow up your life financially while still kind of like testing the waters that way. But also, like, it probably could apply to food trucks. I just don't know enough about that to say. Damien, Navone up 30 love, maybe on his way to a relatively low-key service game here. What's the best? Yep, 40 love now. What's the best piece of life advice that you have received?
Tough to say. I there's this famous Federer story, right? That his mom told him like never let the ball bounce twice, or something like that. It's simple, but it works.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll kind of twist it and just say that there's a certain motto, let's say, that I'm trying to live by, and that's I know that I know nothing, but did I ever receive it as an advice from somebody, like as advice? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe I'd come up with something if I had to think about it, but it would probably be something very simple as well.
Yeah.
I like the restaurant thing. Like, from just hearing about it and again watching Kitchen Nightmares, it's very clear that this is one of the worst industries to get.
Yeah.
Even the successful restaurants, they barely earn money.
Yeah.
And there's just so much like turnover, and then it's so tough to actually maintain it over the years. That I think I would never do it.
Yeah, my grandma used to say, you get out what you put in, and I think that's more or less true in most situations. Like if you try really hard, even if you don't succeed at whatever that thing is, like you do get something out of it. You learn a lot, right? Whereas if you kind of half-ass something, like don't expect much,
Sure.
Okay. Oh, nice rally here. Fonseca. Now 40-30 on Navone's serve, trying to put some pressure on him, hanging in there.
I actually think, by the way, John, this is not as good a week for your WTA rankings prediction as you might think, because, well, you had Świątek at number 5, yes, but did you have Ostapenko and Anisimova higher? Like, you guys still so high in the WTA race, right? Like, it's not like the players you had her, beat. You had you had them beating her in your predictions. Like, they're not actually doing better than her. Obviously, she's gonna be below Madison Keys, but that's probably just temporary.
Can we agree that Ostapenko, by the way, is like the funniest player on the WTA to watch?
Easily, she's gonna be such a memorable character. Like, I think when she retires, we're just gonna be remembering her for years to come for so many things.
Yeah, she's an icon. She's a queen.
The faces, the quotes, the fact that she's arguing every single Hawkeye Live call. I think especially some of the quotes, even today, she kind of added to her resume in terms of the quotes, right? Saying that, like, we've played many times, so I obviously knew that I would beat her or something like this. I love it. Like, the same way she had this grass court in post-match interview, and she says, well, my level today was much better than hers, and I showed it. And I mean, sure, you're right.
Fonseca battling back to deuce. Now got a second serve at deuce. Gonna, of course, try and capitalize and get this break back. Oof, these lines, by the way, ball is jumping off them. Just that second serve. I mean, the way the ball just dies in some of these slices, these conditions are wild. There's that iconic shot of the ball being out by like a foot when Ostapenko challenged it. I mean, that makes the round on social media, and I
was hoping they were going to do something similar today, actually, because there was a double fault call. I think that she was trying. I mean, she waved her finger, and they just didn't show it on the broadcast. But I think if they did, it would have been very similar. I was already like my finger was on the print screen button.
You were ready. Oh, look at the shape they're putting on the ball now. It seems like both of them have adjusted their play style and are putting a little more height, a little more spin on it. Navone getting the hold here to go up to love.
Yeah, I mean, Navone obviously not the most natural attacker, but you still need to, like, be very determined and keep yourself at the point for a long while to break him down, like the way that Fonseca was doing it in the second set. Well, he needs a lot more of that. This is obviously not a pretty match. This is a mess, but it's a good chess match. Yeah, you mentioned chess a few times, and I think this definitely falls into that category of tennis matches.
And Novak, Jokere, that duo is still a thing, an item, if you will, as you can see.
Was there something about Verdasco as well, right, today?
They were like rally partner. Djokovic was rallying with him or doing a nice like hitting session, which is neat. Nurlan wants to know if I am a fan of breakfast with sausage and scrambled egg. I'm like, I'm in my 30s now, so I kind of stick with like turkey sausage because it's a little better for you. And sausage is better, but I'm out here trying to make healthy choices for my tennis game and all that stuff. Yes. Very much so, especially on sourdough.
Navone, yesterday I had it for dinner. So
breakfast for dinner is a classic, man. Navone at love 30 here, maybe gonna see if he can steal a second break. Fonseca just cannot get and hold the momentum. Oh, and happy birthday to international football legend Edson Cavani. Feliz cumpleaños. That's great. Is he back in Argentina now?
Is he still playing even? I would probably ask at this point, but
he's a Uruguayan player, so I guess I shouldn't say back in Argentina. Is he playing in Argentina?
Might be.
And now 15:30.
Honestly, I kind of lost track of his career after he left PSG.
And that it appears to be in a Boca Junior jersey, and as a lifelong unending diehard Boca Juniors fan for the past 2 months, of course I'm being silly, and I knew that Edson Cavani is on Boca Juniors now.
Yeah, he is.
Where are these questions coming from the chat for me? Am I an IHOP or Waffle House guy? I'm from the South, man. I'm a Waffle House guy to the core. It's not even a question. By the way, Waffle House, eating there, you like every bite, you're like, oh wow, if I have a heart attack, I will have deserved it. It's just that good, and you choose to continue. It is, for your dollar, the best tasting breakfast you can get 24/7 anywhere in the world. But also, it is straight up terrible for you. Big point here at 30 all. Extended rally. Ooh.
Oh yeah, the crowd is gonna erupt after this one.
No. Oh. Yeah, I bet they are. Oh,
yeah,
you don't need to have the sound on to hear that.
You
crowd.
don't need to have the sound. There's like a lot of people in our camera angle. They're just like, they're standing up, and you can see all of this. Yeah, it was just a very safe smash from Fonseca.
Right up the middle.
The volley he got was actually pretty decent from that position, but it's still not enough. Mariano just tracks it down, and now we are in that position where, well, Mariano is facing it. Can get a double break here.
I'm getting a call from the restaurant I'm taking my wife to for Valentine's Day, so give me 30 seconds.
Of course. It's a crazy point as well. I mean, +1 forehand, Fonseca finds the baseline with it, but Mariano is there, and he puts it on the line as well with this very high shot. Fonseca kind of leaves the door wide open for a backhand down the lane pass. Well, not wide open, but he leaves that chance to Mariano. That eventually doesn't work out for the Argentinian, but it was a crazy point nonetheless. And, I mean, this match is, again, delivering definitely in terms of the drama. Still so tough for Fonseca to generate anything offensively here, unless the serve is just massive. And he's really struggling to do that. But a nice backhand cross-court counter here sets him up with a game point. If he goes double breakdown, you'd probably think it's over.
And I'm so back for this next break point. By the way, fellas, quick reminder, if you celebrate Valentine's Day and have a partner, it is not too late to get flowers or chocolates or whatever. It probably is too late to get dinner reservations.
It's kind of too late in Poland, to be honest.
If you're watching in Poland and you didn't do anything, you blew it, man. You're in trouble. Get ready to apologize. Yeah, get it together for next year. But happy Valentine's Day to all who celebrate, and hopefully you did good.
Hopefully you're not in Poland right now, but rather on the western side of the globe.
Yeah, if you're watching from Poland and you got a partner, you should stop. This is a good match, but go do that.
If you're watching in Asia or in Australia, you're done. The girlfriend is already gonna break up with you. It's already hit midnight. It's probably happened by this point.
Oh golly, we're at another deuce. Every game is a friggin' battle here.
Yeah, battle is just very good term to describe this match.
Great serve there from Fonseca. And obviously Navone missed, but he took a pretty nice cut at it. Agree with Dave. This is absolutely, I'll go a step further. It doesn't feel like ankle breaking conditions. This is ankle breaking conditions. It's at the point where you got to worry a little bit about the player's safety. Of course, hope everybody will be okay. But we've seen some slipping here and there. Not a ton, but certainly not ideal conditions for them.
Does seem like the drizzle is either gone or it's not that heavy anymore. But of course,
And Shankopotamus there. Fonseca sprays one. Ghost of Garolitis had an uncle named Valentine, and I would like to know the backstory there. And Damien, are tawny ports popular in Poland? I'm a bit of a port guy, and so that would explain something. If that's the case. Ports? Yeah. You a port wine guy?
Oh, no, I don't like wine at all, but tawny ports, okay, yeah. Now that I see it written, I understand what he means. Yeah, I drank some in Porto, because when we went there with John, the Airbnb guy gave us some for free, but I was not a fan, so...
Love a good dessert wine. Fonseca with the big winner there.
The whole fermentation taste, if you know what I mean. It's just not for me.
Damien, as we are now in for Fonseca, do you care to comment that you got drunk on stream drinking port in Porto?
Yeah.
Confirmed. Big J journalism.
Good drunk is good drunk. I mean, I was a little woozy. I mean, I was more like falling asleep rather than actually drunk because I didn't have all that much.
Ozan says that makes you a lightweight. Can you confirm as Fonseca gets the hold?
I'm Polish, you know. I mean, I have a lot of training with alcohol. I compared to most of my friends, I'm definitely not quite as heavyweight in this sense than they. But I think compared to like the normal human being, let's say the average person in the world, I am, you know, the João Fonseca of drinking talent.
So when I went to Poland with my family, I was 14. It had been years since my dad had visited his family, and which is my family, and I had not really had a drink in the States. I think maybe I'd had like a sip of beer, and we were staying at my family's house. All the male relatives went outside, and I walked out there. And one of them just tries to hand me a pint of vodka. And I'm like, with my parents, I'm 14. That would have been a big no-no in my house. I was like, no, man, I'm 14. I'm good on the vodka. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he tried to hand me a lit cigarette instead. I was like, no, again, get that out of here. So my limited experience with my Polish relatives, they get down.
Yeah, I mean, that's, by the way, guys, to you guys listening, that's not how Poland looks everywhere. That's not how Poland looks for me. I did have
just my family.
A cigarette offered to me when I was like maybe 10 or 11, but that was
when you were 10 or 11. 10 or 11.
But that was by another 11-year-old, and I declined. Just to be clear,
that's worse than what I just said.
No, but I don't know where they had the cigarettes from, but I decided not to. And I was actually also pretty late with starting to drink. Like I waited until I was like 16, I think. So
you're just digging a hole, man. Just digging a hole for all of Poland.
I mean, that was late. Like my friends were already drinking, but I was like, no, I don't need it. And then I tried once, and I figured, yeah. And yes, Ghosty, vodka is basically the only drink you have in Poland. I mean, beer is obviously also a thing, and actually it's just as massive. But beer is drunk for let's say, other settings, right, and other goals even sometimes. I would say. But yeah, if you want to get smashed, it's vodka 100%. Obviously, some people will drink whiskey too. There's gonna be some whiskey guys, but vodka is the predominant. If you're gonna have like a house party and you invite 10 people, 8 or 9 of them are gonna bring vodka.
What's the biggest beer in Poland? And if you're in the chat, post the biggest beer where you're from.
I mean, there's a lot of Polish ones. I don't know, Żywiec, Lech, Tyskie. You're not gonna know these, but obviously we also have Carlsberg, Heineken. They're in every shop too. So
yeah. I think it's probably Budweiser. Well, technically, actually, in the States, it's Modelo is the biggest beer now. Most commonly consumed beer. Do they do dipping tobacco in Poland as Navone's up 30 love here and we do a nice little cultural exchange here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a big one in the States, at least where I'm from. Fonseca,
and that's also funny because yes, I did start enjoying Andy Murray play when I was on the port in Porto. That's because that was literally when Andy Murray retired at the Olympics, and I was like, well, the stream has just ended. Why don't we put on some Andy Murray big win? John, why don't we watch in order to give him a tribute? Why don't we watch some sort of highlights from a big win for Andy Murray? And we put on the 2012 US Open final against Novak. Obviously not the best match ever. I mean, it was windy as hell that day, but still a meaningful moment for Andy. And we watched a really long highlight video of that.
So very fast hold there for Navone. These conditions, I can't help but think prime Andy Murray would have thrived on this court. Just grind
Interesting. I mean, for years he was kind of shit on clay, but then the clay ray came, and in 2015-16 he was maybe even the best player in the world on clay for a while. Pretty disappointing showing against Novak in the French Open final, but I think he was just as good as him that year.
Yeah,
so maybe, but yeah, South America is also kind of weird. The courts do play different than the European clay, so you never really know, I guess. I think for the most part in his career, Murray, like 2013, 12, if he came to Rio, he'd probably lose to Thomas Bellucci in the second round. But yeah, maybe in 15, 16.
Very nice point there for Fonseca to start this service game off. Damien, the people demand it. They want to know, they need to know, and Ghost has asked, what range was prime Andy Murray? What years did we see Andy Murray in his prime?
Well, I know some people would say that like he was already troubling the Big Four a lot in 2008, 9. I would probably say just 15, 16 is the main peak.
Yeah.
16, of course, he finished number 1, has an incredible win streak at the end of the year. But if you want to go longer, then like, yeah, you can definitely, I think, start in 2008 and just go straight to 2016. Obviously, there were some breaks in the meantime, but maybe just like 2014 when he was injured for some part of the season. But like, yeah, if you want to go like really long, then I think 2008, 2016, like 2016 is clearly where it ends. But I think if you want to go very specific, then 15, 16, and especially 16, of course.
How about, by the way, that touch on the pickup volley from Fonseca a moment ago? By the way, up 40 love, maybe on his way to an easy service game. Set's moving along a little bit here.
Yeah, the last 2 games they have kind of sped up. That's not ideal for Fonseca, of course. Navone is the guy who wants to be closer to the finish now, wants to like exchange games.
Look at Fonseca's shirt, and clearly wind is becoming a factor there as it's rippling in the breeze. And for those of you non-Spanish speakers, Buenos Aires translates to good air, so known for a bit of a breeze.
Well, in tennis, that's probably not good air.
Mal Aires for tennis.
Yeah,
yes.
Malos Aires, I guess you have to say.
Sure, yeah. Only if we want to be correct. Yeah.
But well, there's some good air on this forehand from him here, and he gets the game.
Okay.
This is a long match. This is a long stream. I'm not exactly like, I'm not saying I don't enjoy it. I was thinking though that, it's going to be like an hour and a half, and then I'm going to eat something, and I am getting pretty hungry by this point, but that's fine. We will survive.
People, Damien is withering away for you, for the content.
Yeah.
He's slowly evaporating. I also kind of similar thing. I have an empty water bottle sitting next to me here, right here, and I was like, okay, as we're about to get started, like, should I go fill this up now? I was like, no, we'll be here for like an hour and 15 minutes. Not a big deal. And now I'm kind of thirsty. I'm parched.
Same thing here.
I'm dehydrated. Damien's withering away, all for tennis and for the talking tennis community, putting our bodies on the line for this match.
Usually we'd just close the stream now, but Julian gave us that membership at the beginning of the stream, and we're like, okay, yeah, we kind of have to do it for him,
Wait, I'm sorry. Am I seeing correctly that John put Rybakina third in his WTA end of year power rankings for what he thought was going to happen?
You think that's ridiculous?
Yeah, I do. I think that she could not be doing more off the court to set herself up for failure than she's doing. I think. Look, it's hard to play with this stuff
in December as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that she's so talented. I'm not saying that she won't be able to get a good result here and there. But the Vukov stuff is bad, man. Wait. So in December is when she'd hired Ivanisevic, and it seemed like she was parting ways with Vukov. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, in that case, then no, I definitely did not think that, and I owe apologies, John. That was a reasonable prediction at the time, albeit one. I mean,
you'd still put her top 5, right?
No? I'm not going to put her top 10. I think.
Oh, look, really?
Yeah.
Nah, come on.
It's tough to play when you got nonsense off the court. You ever have a bad
day? Isn't she still top 10 right now in the race, and just getting good results every tournament? Really.
2 weeks into February, she's top 10 in the race, but Goran is gone. Vukov is around, and I just think that it's really, really tough to play at a high level when you've got distractions, and I think she's created a bunch of distractions for herself, and her coach, who's supposed to be looking out for her and helping, has done far more damage than good, which is a shame. And it's not going away. This right or wrong, allegations true or not, rumors true or not, it's not going away. If she gets rid of Vukov, I put her at 3 though. I think that prediction is exactly right.
I'd still have her top 5, but yeah, maybe just not alongside Sabalenka, Świątek, Goff right now.
Yeah.
And part of that is just because I don't think there's a strong top 4, top 5 contender at the moment.
Well, so Sabalenka, Świątek, I think. And then our God Queen Ostapenko probably put 3rd. Goff. Goff is always a forehand away from being on the same caliber, I think. But we shall see.
Yeah, there's been signs that it might be things that might be working out for her there, but we'll see if this gets maintained. To your question, Ozan, yes, I actually do rate Żubrówka. I used to hate it a bit because I thought it was just like one of the like more abysmal tasting, just like random, middle price vodkas here. But then we did a blind test, and it turned out that I actually do like it, and ever since it's been kind of like my go-to. Well, Fonseca, we said earlier that like the goal of his returning strategy here is like move so far back that he's basically making every return. He's not making every return here.
Yeah, that was a terrible miss at 30 love. I mean, he had all the time in the world. He was out of position and then shanked it.
Interesting. Are we putting Andy in the same camp as Del Potro, or his potential being suppressed by injury? Nah, no way, right? I mean, he had so many years at the top.
But also part of Delpo, his size, you can't teach being 6'7" and moving pretty well. And he was 6'7", it could move pretty well. We joked about the sound off Fonseca's racket sounding a bit like Delpo more than center. And I just don't think that anybody would say the same thing about the sound off Andy Murray's racket, even in his prime.
Maybe when they break it, it would sound similar, but not when they hit. I'm not fluent in Espanol, Ozan. No, definitely not. So you're wrong there, and yeah.
You guys ready for a little
Delpo is tier 1 betrayed by the body. Is Andy tier 2? Probably not. I think Andy might be like tier 3 or 4.
Well, I mean, how old was Andy Murray when he first started having real physical problems? 29, 30? Like,
sorry?
How old was Murray when he started having like real problems physically? Was it 29 or 30 or so?
Yeah, by 2017, 18, yeah. I think before that there was, well, obviously every single tennis player has some issues. 2014 he had a season where he wasn't as healthy, but he still makes the ATP finals. Like, it was nothing compared to Delpo. So like, I think Andy isn't in the tier below him now.
Like, I would argue that Zverev has had as many health issues as Murray did at that stage in his career, right? I mean, Zverev absolutely got wrecked.
Zverev had one major injury, and he had none by that point. Yeah,
exactly. And so, like, if you start getting nagging and serious injuries when you're 29 or older, like, that's just kind of life, like that has been the norm in tennis forever. If
it's still compared to like Roger, Rafa, Novak. I mean,
but
Andy
again,
Andy got it worse.
Those are to me unfair comps for anybody.
They are superhumans, but like he was part of the big four with them, and
if for Andy Murray fans, sure, but like there is in the same way there's a gap between Świątek and Rybakina and everybody else. There is for the big three and everybody else, and I sorry to Andy Murray fans. He's a very, very good player. He had amazing accomplishments, but it's just not honest to put him on the level with those three. There were years where perhaps he was, tournaments where he was, but come on. The gap existed. Wawrinka's not on the level with those guys either. And he's a very, very good player who had an amazing career, won a couple of majors.
I don't know, Ghosty. I didn't see that question earlier, but I don't know why they were squabbling. I think Mike retired, right, in the second set, but I don't know anything more about that much. I don't know, actually, Dave, about this Andy versus team. Andy was affected more. I mean, they both kind of just had a huge injury, and after that, they were able to return to the court. They were able to like play pretty well, but never actually returned to their best or anything close to their best, to big title winning level. Yeah, sure. I mean, Andy's was tougher because it was a hip resurfacing and like something that actually impacts, I guess, his movement so much more, obviously, than
Yeah.
the wrist injury of Team. But in a way, their careers kind of ended similarly, right? It's just that Andy continued for a few more years, whereas Domi didn't have that same kind of like determination. And I think Team's injury happens a lot earlier in his career too.
Yeah. Kyrgios is in neither tier because his injury was a permanent injury and it was not physical, it was mental. Like any issues he had with his body, the issue wasn't his body, it was his mind. If you don't take care of yourself and you get hurt, I would argue the biggest issue was that you didn't take care of yourself. He never at any point in his career after the age of maybe 19 did he set himself up for success with his commitment to the game, with his, with his mental, any of that stuff. I don't think he was faking it. I think that he didn't train in a way that would allow him to have longevity. You look at Federer, Djokovic, Murray as well. You look at Nadal. They take training in tennis so seriously. They are doing every little thing they can possibly think of to optimize their physical health, their mental health, and prolong their careers. And Kyrgios, even his biggest apologist, I don't think could make a case that he at any point in time even attempted to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I said it about a different player before, but it applies to Kyrgios as well. Like, his natural talent is just so obscene. And it's a bit of a shame that it just didn't go to somebody who would be just, able to maximize it a bit better.
Yeah, even
that
just
sort of
try.
natural talent to, I don't know, David Ferrer, and he wins 5 slams instead of none.
Yeah. I mean, look, even if you didn't give it to somebody that was a quintessential professional, so just somebody who is like a Marcos Bagdatis level professional, he would have done more with it. I don't know that we've ever seen a player do more with less than Nick Kyrgios, and I don't know that we ever will again. And it's a shame. Ooh, you got somebody in mind for who you think did?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, how much more could he actually achieve? Just be more consistent at the top. But like
Kyrgios, he didn't practice. He didn't have a practice schedule.
I mean, he some of that is true. Some of that is probably not, as well. Like, I think some of the stories we probably shouldn't believe. I don't know. Well, anyway, it seemed like a point that Fonseca might have a chance of winning, and then he misses that drop shot get.
Look at that return. That's
time is running out, essentially, right? I mean, by now he really has to get himself going in the next few minutes.
That point, the loopiest short backhand return, outrageous get, push it back, and then cranks a backhand cross court right on the line, takes a crazy bounce. Navone can't handle it.
You're doing a bit better with these sort of responses than the slice. Yeah. Maybe that's also something to look at for Fonseca.
Yeah.
And, when he was stretched that far wide to the backhand corner, he just kind of looped it back in. Not like Navone will kill it for the most, at least most times.
If I was Fonseca's coach, I'm showing him just that video that was on Instagram the other day of Roger Federer hitting a slice. Just like, hey, man, look at this. Just try and do that. Good luck.
And then Fonseca is like, I'm going to show you a different video. And he shows a compilation of Stefanos Tsitsipas hitting slices.
Yeah.
And he's going to say you see, you can be a top player and not hit a slice.
Yeah. To Ghost's point in the chat, by the way, he's right. Tennis is a sport where you basically can't be, you simply cannot have a normal life, normal existence if you want to be at the highest level. And work-life balance is not a thing that exists. I think there's that in one of my favorite pieces of tennis content ever, David Foster Wallace's article about Michael Joyce. If you haven't read it, check it out. I think does a great job of laying that out as Fonseca sprays a backhand with Navone now up 45. And Damien, you are correct. Fonseca is running out of time here.
Yeah, and also at 15-0, there was another return he missed. Literally, you have no excuse from that position. Of the second serve, at least. Of the first, Mariano gets some traction from time to time.
Yeah. Dave's joking in the chat that if he was Fonseca's coach, he would fill a court with Jello, which actually brings up a really interesting question, Damien. Which player do you think would perform better if the court was filled with Jello? It's a serious question, and I expect a serious answer.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Like, what would be the assets that are premium on a court full of Jello? Is it someone who is more agile or less agile?
I think you need more explosivity to get through the Jello. As Fonseca is down now 3-5.
And yeah, maybe
serving.
someone like Fonseca or Alcaraz. Yeah.
I feel like Fuchsovic's would be unreal on a court filled with Jello.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hey, drop in the chat who you think the best player on a court filled with Jello would be. Alcaraz certainly would be better. I mean, God, Fonseca just sloppy. Another forehand in the net there. You can see him between points, and he's trying so hard. You know, the focus is there, the intent is there. He's just missing. He's just having one of those days. Oh, Damien, an interesting question from Ghost here, which is if there's a little Damien in the future, or Damiena, and they show some skill at tennis, are you all in, or do you just make sure they have a childhood, or somewhere in the middle? As we're at 15 all here.
I mean, I wouldn't want to make my kids do something he doesn't want to, but I know that's not really something that works in tennis, really, because you have to kind of push them at an early age. I mean, the reality is I would love to have a kid who is a professional sportsman. Like, sure, why not? But I think it probably wouldn't happen, since I just wouldn't, do a Richard Williams on them, right? Like I wouldn't literally just like give them a racket when they are 2 years old and go for it. But like, obviously my kid is going to be playing table tennis or tennis recreationally, like for sure. I just don't think professionally it would happen. But I wouldn't be against it. No, definitely not.
I think if you look at the bad double fault, and again, no things as good double fault, bad double fault nonetheless. For me, if I watched a documentary about Wayne Gretzky, and his parents were basically like, yeah, neither of us really cared about hockey. He just was super into it, so we kept taking him to stuff when he'd ask. And greatest hockey player of all time. You have every bit as much of a chance of having a kid who's good at a sport if you just follow their lead and support them in their interests, as if you Richard Williams them, because for every Richard Williams, there's 1,000 whose kid ended up kind of being like a low level D2 player who flames out, And so I just want when Sarah, Dr. Sarah Cunningham, my wife, and I have a kid, I just want to support their athletic interests. Something help. Oh, wow. We got a match point here. Holy moly. That snuck up on us. 30-40 Fonseca serving. Break point and match point, and now a second serve. That escalated quickly.
I mean, the previous point was also a match point.
Oh, sorry. I'm
the double fault was for 15-40.
Yeah.
He actually hits two pretty ridiculous shots on the face. Yeah.
Wow. Deuce. And Fonseca still, look, to his credit, at any number of moments in this match, he could have given up. And I think that some players might have. And he's just continuing to battle. And he's playing himself as much as he's playing Navone out there. And a lucky net cord goes Fonseca's way. And he's got an ad to keep the match going. Ghost is right, by the way, about Richard Williams. But again, there's a whole lot of Richard Williams wannabes that are not Richard Williams. You are far more like.
There are a lot of people who are like trying to do the same, but they aren't going to be played by Will Smith in a movie about them.
Woo! Navone cranking it. Okay, back to Deuce. God, this is a long stream, Damien. We've been here for a while. I feel like we bonded.
Yeah, I mean, of course, every single stream gets us, further in our professional and personal relationship.
We're starting to finish each other's sentences. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the beginning when you were saying like, you know what they say, I wasn't sure where you're going. Now I'm just like, 5 lines ahead of you.
Am I so predictable? After 2 hours and 48 minutes, yeah, I think everybody is.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting tired too, and you're getting dehydrated, more and more dehydrated by the minute. So.
And you're withering away as Fonseca again serves for the game. Ooh, still serving volley, and he holds. Okay. 5-4. Navone serving. They're battling the elements. We're battling starvation and dehydration. Let's see who wins. I would say the viewer, because it's been a close match and there have been flashes, but like, now that we're here, it hasn't really been like great tennis.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't bothered me whatsoever, but it's definitely just a complete mess with the heavy conditions and generating offense. It's just not as easy for Fonseca as it usually is. So it just becomes such a grind fest. I think Navone is also generally more entertaining. He was very entertaining to watch in the first set, I think, when it wasn't as heavy yet, and Fonseca was just like trying to all out attack him as he usually does. But the way that this match kind of turned into this chess match, the quality has to dip. It's been an entertaining battle.
Yeah. So actually, as a journalist, I have a question. Well, not like as a person asking a journalist a question, I have a journalistic question for you. The Zach Damian bromance, can you confirm?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good people on the Titans channel, but
He's denying the bromance.
No, I think
wow,
it's pretty easy to do this with you for sure. You do have the skills in terms of just like maybe leading the show as well. I think that's generally what I kind of prefer. Maybe it's even more important that rather than for watch-alongs, but for like these, shows we do like the ATP Weekly or any sort of like analysis-oriented shows. I think generally I feel more comfortable in the role of just kind of like responding rather than leading. I've had to do a lot of leading with some other people over the years, and I've kind of I feel like I've improved at that. But this is more just like natural for me. So well, that's my answer, I guess.
As people may have noticed, I go on tangents sometimes, and I kind of have to be like, oh yeah, and this is the score to keep myself from going like fully off the rails. So thank you for letting me.
This is very common for us on this channel, I think. Yeah. I've seen streams that were worse, like streams that I I don't know, just like was only listening to, or maybe there was one that I was producing for, and I just remember, I don't know, the set ends, but everybody's still in that discussion they started 10 minutes ago, and nobody brings it up. But obviously it's you just gotta find some balance, and it's fine. Just like Fonseca has been trying to find the right balance in this match, and at times he's done it. But in the first set, his strategy is not really working out for him. And now Navone is just 3 points away from the match.
Nice segue. Hey, we've got somebody in the chat that I just want to highlight, and I hope we can pull this up on the screen. Gustavo said, I used to beat Fonseca when we were 10 years old here in Rio de Janeiro. And I don't know if that's real or a troll or not, but I'm going to choose to believe that's real and say, hey, pretty cool. And ask, what was his game like as a 10-year-old? Was it the same style? Did he play differently? What was 10-year-old Fonseca like?
Why were you such a problem for him? No, I tend
what's
to
your game like, Gustavo?
I'm fascinated. Yeah, would love to hear more. Definitely. You're gonna have some crazy stories to tell when he gets even better.
Ghost asked the right question, which is how old was he? If he's like, I was 19, like, yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, Gustavo was 25 and João was like 7.
There's a guy who's ranked like 300 in the world right now who's based out of my area named Strong Kirshheimer. And we played in the juniors actually when he was 9 and I was 12, and he beat the brakes off me. It was like 1-2, and it wasn't close at any point in time in that match. And that was actually the match where I was like, oh, I'm like okay at this, but there's a whole another level, and then there's a whole nother level above that I'm simply not going to get to because this scrawny 9-year-old is working me. Okay, 15:30 at 5-4. We are 2 points away from being on serve and 3 points away from calling it a day. Gotta love the tennis scoring system. Best ever created. Gustavo going quiet now. Gustavo, come on, man. Like, the people gotta know. This is a cool moment for us. Damien, I
I
don't want
thought
to speak
you
for
were a
you.
bit generous with Stronkischheimer's ranking. Yeah,
What's
587 right now. But
what's
yeah,
his
he was
peak?
like 375. I wasn't
Okay,
aware
yeah,
he's 29. I thought he's just like
yeah.
fresh after college, to be honest.
No. So there's another guy who came up in the same area named Ty Kwiatkowski, who Strong beat him in the Winston Open qualies. And Ty tweeted out that he'd watched Challengers recently, and he realized that he was Patrick Zweig, and he quit tennis and retired after that match. Oh, Fonseca, good golly.
Yeah, Ty kind of had a long injury that ended his career.
Also
Polish roots, right? So.
Yep. Well, there's not that many Polish roots, North Carolina-based tennis players, and he was
Polish,
way
American.
Yeah.
Player,
well, now you're doing what I do with Learner TN. We got 2 break points here.
2 break points here. This is massive.
Okay. 2 break points.
Oh,
so you are ahead of me. Oh, Damien, you're gonna wither away, man. I feel like
Well, I mean, you mentioned that the tennis scoring system is so beautiful. At least from this point, we know that it's max 3 games.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
shouldn't be that long.
I got to jump in, Dave. No, you are spelling it right. Everybody else is spelling it wrong. I am Zack. My name is Zach, not Zach. However, I'm used to it being spelled wrong, and my last name is Tchaikovsky, so I'm just used to my name being wrong all the time. But you, Dave, are correct. Everybody else, wrong. And we are at 5-all in the deciding set. Good golly.
We're just never gonna eat or drink anymore.
Ghost is cracking me up with that. Zach's. This point, what a point to start. Ooh, and in the net for Navone. I mean, so Fonseca is playing the hometown favorite. And again, can't hear, so I don't know that he's won the crowd over fully. But the people are going nuts for this kid. As they should be.
Yeah, I don't think you won the crowd over fully, but there's definitely like at least a small group of Brazilian fans, which is just insane. And yeah, that was the same thing against Korea. I think there's like Brazilian people are pretty spread out over the world, so I think we might also see this at like most events. Of course, it's easier in Argentina, but
look at that serve.
France Cerundolo watching, and well, he will have to play pretty soon against Alexander Zverev. His match was on a nod before 6:30 in Buenos Aires time, but now, well, it's there's not going to be like a huge delay now. Definitely not. And what a hold for Fonseca here. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you that like he did anything special here. It just means so much that he is able to get this game.
I'll tell you what he did was special. He hit 4 first serves that were 220 plus. Just bombs. I mean, he hit 4 of his biggest serves of the match at 5-all in the third.
Yeah, you're right. I was a little bit too, let's say, just like casual about it.
I will say to your point though, because you're not wrong. Like it's not like they were his best place serves, but he cranked them. 1 or 2 hit a line and took funky bounces. They just showed a guy with his shirt off and a nipple ring. By the way, I don't know why they put that in the coverage, but just had to make note of it. And you see Navone ripping a goo, trying to get that last little bit of energy he needs to get to a tiebreak here and go to the decider. Oh, Dave points out that it seems drier out and that the wind should help if the wind shoved off.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, sounds real. I think we said at some point that like the drizzle seems to be there over, or like it's not as heavy anymore. I don't think that the conditions are just like magically going to improve, but they might be a touch faster now. Let's see if Fonseca has like what does he have kind of like in his head right now? Like, is he just gonna try the same thing he's been doing over the last 2 sets, or is there actually gonna be some more stepping in, hitting the bigger return?
Is Ozan trying to get me to compare Fonseca to Andy Roddick with that question? Ozan, is that? I mean, like, huge forehand, big first serve, good kick serve, spotty backhand. I'm always going to think Roddick. But other than that, no American even really resembles the level. There, no American in my lifetime really resembles Fonseca's level. And certainly Sampras, Agassi, Courier, very, very different game. So I guess it feels like a not great comp, but Roddick's probably the closest we got. I mean, Damien, what do you think?
I think he was just like kind of throwing out the question, I would assume. Can we compare him to Andy? Yeah, maybe.
I feel like that was Andy Roddick bait, which by the way, I love Andy Roddick, so happy to talk about his game.
I don't dislike the comparison, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not like particularly close, but maybe.
If Andy Roddick had grown up playing on clay, I could see him maybe having looked a bit more like Fonseca. And Navone serving to get things underway at 5-6, and he's pissed at either the call or the reality of these lines right now. Michael Chang, as a youngster, was take the fairly out of it. He was full on phenomenal, but very different game, I think, than Fonseca. Oof, that's a rough bounce. For Fonseca, it's the right amount of grit, right amount of luck to get him back in this and have him 3 points away from going home with a win. The U.S. the U.S. has actually produced a genuine all-quarter, and his name is Lerner Tien, and you all will get to see him quite a bit this next 15 years.
Jesus.
Yes, that's what we call him, Tennis Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Lerner Tien on clay, you don't want to watch that. Not that I've ever seen him play on clay, but
wow.
I mean, it's obvious it will be horrific. Anyway, well, we have.
You think? Wait, hold the phone. You haven't seen him on clay, and you think it's going to be horrific? He's got so much guile, savvy, and touch.
No, but the slower it is, his shots are not going to be doing any damage.
I don't think he needs to. I think he's.
I think he needs to for sure. He's not that strong physically, no.
I'm going to make a prediction. Lerner Tien's going to win 2 French Opens. That's my prediction of the day. Don't fact check me in 15 years when he retires.
Yeah, it's not a serious prediction.
Unless, oh God, if he makes a run on clay, I'm going to be so obnoxious on social media. Well, I guess I got to read down the Twitter. It's going to be obnoxious. Yeah.
That's just going to be obnoxious on the channel.
I'll be in the group chat.
Jake, you kind of were at the start, but now you've really gotten into your groove.
Okay, Fonseca still has a light advantage here at 15:30. Navone got one back. You can cut the pressure with a knife right now in Argentina.
Oh yeah, and you can definitely cut the pressure with a knife in this rally. I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Oh my God. 2 net cords. Whole lot of slice. This looks like a men's 55 plus right now. Okay, not anymore. Oh my goodness. Fonseca with 2 break points and 2 match points. Wow. Damien, did you think we'd be here?
I mean, no, definitely not. Especially when he was 2 match points down at 3-5, right? Like it just seemed like game over. And he actually went after his shots so much on these 2 points, contrary to like most of the second and third set. But of course, it's not done yet. And the first match point here, let's see.
Great serve from Navone. But, we got the extended rally yet again. And a winner. Oh, yep. Was that a winner? I couldn't quite see on the broadcast.
Yeah. Forced error. I'm not sure. Yeah, the scoreboard was covering it up.
Yeah.
But either way, like if he got a racket on it, then barely.
They should categorize that as a winner, even if it wasn't.
I think so. Yeah, I think it would go into the winner category.
One more break point, one more match point for Fonseca. In Buenos Aires.
Is really like not giving this away for free,
Yeah, he just hit the line again with that serve as we enter another extended rally.
This is like 2 of the best offensive points from Navone all match.
Oh yeah, I mean he just
like most of
moving
the match he
Fonseca
really
around.
struggled to execute combinations like this.
Yeah.
And yet right now he's finding it.
Dave says that is brave Navone. And I agree.
Yeah.
Gutsy tennis. So Damien, Ozan wants to know, is this a contender for match of the season?
No, not really. But it will be memorable. I mean, of course, we still don't know how it will finish.
Yeah.
Maybe the finish can take
Oh
it
my
to match
God.
category.
This is another point, except for this time it's Fonseca dictating. Unbelievable tennis. We've just had our best 3-point sequence of the match at 6-5 in the third. And we've got another break point / match point for Fonseca. So in UFC, they give like performance of the night awards, like best knockout, you get a little more money. Best fight, you get a little more money. I think this is probably going to be the match of the day, at least. And they should get a little more money for that. That would be neat. One way to get some more cash to players. Sponsored by DraftKings. And Fonseca's done it. He's done it.
Oh my.
And his coaches are really happy, as is he. An emotional moment for him. Oh, what a win. Ozan calls it character building, and I couldn't agree more. That is a testament to the level he is capable of. We got, for long stretches, his D game, his C- game, and he found a way, and he never gave up. He got frustrated, but at no point in time did he take his eye off the prize. I am really excited for this youngster, and I think that there's some ridiculous expectations being put on him. But you know what? I'm starting to believe he can live up to them.
Yeah, I mean, I've believed that he can live up to them for a while, but it's like the margins are so slim because it can be a horrible loss for him, or it can be like such a memorable win.
Yeah.
And everything just falls down on these 2 match points he saves at 3-5, 15-40. But of course, there are so many more moments and points where it could go either way. Last game as well. Yeah, Navone playing probably his 2 best attacking combinations of the match when he was faced with the first 2 match points. It's just insane. And yeah, I know we said that like sometimes you learn more from a loss. I think this is a win he's gonna learn a lot from as well. And like he gets another match tomorrow. It might be tough. Maybe this one is gonna have him running low on steam. No idea. Laszlo Jarrett, tough opponent. Of course, again, someone with a lot of experience, someone who's not gonna give you points for free, really. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna get so much out of this match, out of this event already, and there's still more to come during this Golden Swing. I think before the match began, I said that like he's the story of this part of the season, regardless of how he does, really, and it's just becoming more and more obvious with every match.
Let's also all be aware that the Vance prediction is still technically doable and is one match more likely to happen. Damien, there are reports from tennis journalist Ghost of Garolitis that you're going to be insufferable for the next 24 hours. Do you care to comment?
No, I mean, I know why Ghost is saying that. But yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. Like, obviously, I am high on Fonseca, but whether he wins or loses doesn't determine my happiness or unhappiness. I love Navone as well.
Yeah.
So I think today, for me, there was no bad winner here.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Fonseca is obviously a bigger story for like the general media landscape. But I've already moved on, mentally. I've moved on to tomorrow. 6 a.m. there's the semifinals in New Delhi. 10 a.m. For my time, obviously. There's a final in Manama. Fucsovics, Vavasori. You mentioned Martin Fucsovics, so he's a good segue here as well. And that's kind of where I am already. I'm just like, actually, no. Let's skip it. I'm actually thinking about dinner right now.
Well, before you think too much about dinner, what do you think the chances are that Fonseca goes all the way and wins in Argentina, the whole shebang?
decently high. I think by this point, after we saw this match today, it would be very helpful if the conditions were a bit more hot, sunny, and also his physicality is going to be a big deal here. But Fonseca Zverev in the final, I'm not going to say he wouldn't have a shot, and we'll see if it's even Zverev. I think it's pretty obvious he can beat anybody here. It's just that, about executing it on the day, about how good he's going to be at adapting to stuff. I think today, even though he won, obviously that adjustment, micro match adjustments, they weren't perfect, but they were something. It's something we want to see more of in the future if he needs to. It just gives me confidence that he definitely has the ability to win this event. Is he the main favorite? Well, probably not, but let's see if Zverev beats Cerundolo first. Let's assume Zverev is out today, and then everybody will be thinking, Fonseca can probably get this done.
So it's supposed to be a high of 80 and a low of 71 tomorrow, followed by a high of 84 and a low of 71 on Sunday. So a little cloudy, but certainly, no more rain is expected. So we might see full Fonseca in the next round or two, depending on how things go.
Yeah, I mean, you are half Polish, I am full Polish, and I am using the better scale, the better degree, the Celsius scale. So
no,
I don't know what you just said, but sure.
No, we should switch. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that uses the system. It doesn't make any kind of sense. No, it's cool. It's one of those things where it would be a minor inconvenience for us for a year, and then get easier forever for us, and thus for many others too. But ain't gonna happen, especially with what we're up to politically. But tennis journalist Jose Morgado has spoken. He has confirmed the reports of fellow tennis journalist Damien that João Fonseca is special, that he's generational, and this is a big moment. This is the moment that João Fonseca became João Fonseca. Wow. History was made. Yeah, no, history. He made history. No. Well, now I've said it, so technically yes, but no one is saying
I
that.
wonder when João Fonseca became João Fonseca. I think to me it was when he beat Thiago Seyboth Wild in Florianopolis 2023, because that was just so shocking. Because obviously, yes, that was already after the Navone and Tirante wins in Sao Leopoldo did half a year earlier. But Thiago Seyboth Wild in 2023 in the spring, 2 months later he beats Daniel Medvedev. He was in the form of his career. And yet they run into each other. There's this all Brazilian match. And somehow the guy with the massive forehand, Thiago Seyboth Wild, has nothing on João Fonseca's forehand. Thiago Seyboth Wild is just demoted to a random average dude in that match.
Hey,
João Fonseca. Yeah, João Fonseca is just crushing him, and his serve and forehand are ridiculous. I think that to me was the moment he became João.
Who's Fonseca playing the next round? Is he playing Jere, or is he
Laszlo Jere, yeah.
Oh, he's gonna win that. I think he wins that in straight sets.
Wow.
Yeah. Ghost is cracking me up in the chat because he's correct. Not only did the Seyboth Wild beat Medvedev, so did the player that many people are saying is the greatest sub 6 foot, left-handed, West Coast based briefly American tennis prospect since John McEnroe, Lerner Tien.
I think Lerner Tien is the best SoCal prospect since Vange Vermani. But no, anyway, Ghosty, I am not glowing because Fonseca won. I'm glowing because that dinner is finally a real possibility in the next few minutes.
See, now I feel like I want to mess with you and see how long we can keep this stream going, because I know that you're thinking about dinner, but also I'm very, very thirsty. So before we get out of here, is there anything else that we need to say or cover? Because this has been a tennis marathon, a talking tennis marathon of 3 hours and 12 minutes. And man, anybody who's still with us, if they haven't pressed like, what's wrong with you? Press the button. You've been here for 3 hours and 12 minutes, almost 13. So have we. Press the button, please.
Unless your like left mouse button is broken, that's an acceptable excuse.
Find a way. Find a way. It's unacceptable. Find a way.
Maybe there's like a combination you can hit on your keyboard to press like, I don't know. But yeah, in terms of what else we should say, I don't know. I mean, this was definitely not the best quality match I've ever seen, but it was still entertaining. Even though it was so long, I obviously enjoyed being on the stream. I enjoyed watching it because, well, the truth is any match Fonseca plays right now is a pretty big story. And especially this part of the world where people will be going crazy about him, especially tomorrow, he's not going to be playing an Argentinian anymore. So I think after 3 rounds, right? I mean, Echeverri, Navone, Coria, I think tomorrow we're going to see like more ubiquitous support for him, I suppose, from the crowd. And that's going to be also massive. But yeah, I mean, he is the guy to watch this golden swing. I think we knew that already. And sort of like we've got more development in his game, in his mindset today. And we also got to see him playing a brand of tennis that is not usual for him. That is not something natural. I don't think, in my experience of watching João Fonseca, and last year, I can't say I watched every match of his, but I definitely was watching like pretty much anytime I could. And it was probably the same thing in 2023. There just weren't that many opportunities yet. But I don't think I've ever seen him have to play like this, and I definitely haven't seen him winning like this. So yeah, it's just massive in terms of the storylines, the narratives that we got, and just the knowledge that we have been able to gather.
Couldn't agree more. Well said. Thanks so much for everybody that watched along. Damien, let's get you some dinner, man. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Let's get you some water. And see you guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.